In the wake of dawn, I see you shine. When I feel that heartbeat, I fly so much higher, fly so much higher, fly so much higher, fly so much higher, sky lines and clouds are below us now, sky dive back down, oh, take my hand, don't let go, skyward bound. Skyward bound. Skyward bound. We'll never touch the ground, never touch the ground. We are skyward bound. We'll never touch the ground, never touch the ground. We are skyward bound. In the wake of dawn, I see you shine. When I feel that heartbeat, I fly so much higher, fly so much higher, fly so much higher, fly so much higher, sky lines and clouds are below us now, sky dive back down, oh, take my hand, don't let go, skyward bound. Skyward Skyward bound. Skyward bound. Skyward bound.
Hey there. Thanks for the raid, cat. Let's see. Yep, it's a better way. As you can see, it's it's actually kind of hot in here to be frank. For those of you who are living with snow. Oh, yeah. We may be doing a thing a little later. Don't know. We'll see if that person shows up or not. There is, hey, Momo. Jesus Christ. That's because the story of Jesus with her is part of the Joseph Campbell monomyth. And it's basically the same story we've been telling ourselves for thousands of years. There's a few diversions from it, but yeah, the monomyth or the hero's journey is the story of Jesus. And many others. It's not like we took the story of Jesus and then copied it. It's just a formulaic storytelling methodology, and Jesus fits it. So it works. But either way. Oh man, I have a story that made the news today. Oh yeah. Minimum wage. Hello. I mean, not great. I mean, you know, my physical being is miserable all the time, but you know, it is what it is. You know, yeah, minimum wage, millionaires voting down, blah 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 blah. I mean, should I expect different or differently? I have a story out of Texas that just had me fucking cracking up. Exactly. What's new? Like, you know. So, for the ladies in the audience, strap the fuck in. So, there was an English assignment handed out. I'm sorry, I can't get through this. Hey, 219, I can't get through this without giggling like a maniac. This is so fucking ass backwards. Oh, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. 2021, year of our Lord, right? So there was an English assignment given out, which included rules on how female students at the Shallow Water High School outside Lubbock, Texas, should engage in the lesson about chivalry. Hear ye, ladies, the lesson began. The ladies will demonstrate to the school how the code of chivalry and standards set in the medieval concept of courtly love carries over to the modern day. The lesson called for them to dress, quote, in a feminine manner to please the men, and to address all men respectfully by title with a lowered head and curtsy, to never criticize a male, initiate a conversation, or whine. It directed them to walk behind the men or walk daintily as if their feet were bound. You are to cook and clean and obey any reasonable request of a male. And if not sure, if it is considered reasonable, ladies may check with their teachers. Fathers and adult males may insist on following the rules into the evening. Outside the classroom, ladies cannot show intellectual superiority if it would offend the men around them. Oh, I have the, if you want, like, I have the, I'll put it in shared content. There's more rules, by the way. There's more rules. Let's see. Ladies must cook, preferably not buy, something for the gentlemen in their class. Sweet baked goods are preferable, of course. Let's see. Ladies should clean up after the men. They must bring in root beer, ginger ale, or sparkling cider for the gentlemen of their class. It's you know. Hey, Ace, thank you for the resub. Yes, 219. It's absolutely, I mean, this is the thing. I can't not giggle through something like that because it's horrifying. Trust me. Hey, Pestique. It's absolutely, it's a nightmare. Right? Like, this is 2021. And this shit is in a high school. Now, if it were an actual lesson, if you were looking to inform, bring my root beer. If you were looking to inform and maybe cause societal change, then what you would do is have the males follow these rules, these edicts, right? This is what it was like to live as a woman during the medieval period under the yoke of chivalry, right? Like that would be something. At least you have an argument here. But you don't. What you were doing was taking for all of humankind, basically, oppressed half of our species and reoppressing them. For the purposes of demonstration? Hey, Rosa. Yeah, I think this could also work for like method acting for drama as well. It was, I mean, like I said, I came across that and I was like, well, that's a thing. Sounds about right. Yeah. Hey, did you know your life used to it really used to suck? Let's make it worse. Why don't we? Yeah, exactly, Australia. Exactly. I don't even go to medieval times dinner and tournament. Yeah, that was my story of the day. Honestly, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I even called my mom. Rosa. Okay, so I'll for those that just walked in. Basically, there was an English assignment given out in a Texas high school. I don't know, Ace. Keeping your money. No. There was a Momo mute stream. All right, Momo, I'll do this when we're back. There was an English assignment given out in a Texas high school that basically commanded the ladies of the class to live under the medieval rules and laws of chivalry. And they were, I mean, such things as dress in a feminine manner to please the men, never criticize a male, never initiate a conversation, don't whine, walk daintily behind the men as if your feet were bound, obey any reasonable request from a male. Outside the classroom, don't show intellectual superiority if it would offend the men around them. Shit like that. In 2021. Yeah, so that's what we were, discussing. Yes, very much archaic. Christine Dupisson would be upset. Sounds like a fish thing. Oh, and there you go, Momo. They forgot to throw in the rules against witchcraft. Welcome, Mama. Prussian forces changed, so maybe we'll get a school riot out of this. Me, Trey. Me, Trey. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I saw that. I mean, the headline was Texas school scraps assignment that had girls obey any reasonable request of a male, because there were at least a few parents that, not all of them, mind you, there were a few that called and were like, what the fuck? But again, not all of them. I got to eat a teacher's face today after stream, so that was fun. Nice, Momo. Christine Dupisson was badass, one of the first proto-feminists in France. Nice. Well, I do know a few Texans who are in favor of neo-feudalism, so I guess this makes sense. Yeah, right, Team 19? Yeah, Cave. Oh, no, that was somebody else. Guessing mostly moms calling in. I don't know for certain, but I sure as hell hope so, Serious. I sure as fuck hope so. Oh, jeez. Oh, we're doing a fuck, marry, kill, BFF, follow their ideology forever, wins the battle of ideas. Okay. No, Rosa, it was a discussion. It was do it. Yeah, it was, and there was nothing for the men. It was just for the women. That's it. Yeah. Welcome to my world. I'm a dude, and even as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is horrific. But yeah, my sense of humor is twisted enough that I get a good giggle out of it, because at least they stopped it, and I get to point out how fucked up our society still is. Let's see. All right, yeah, so fuck, marry, kill. Oh god, you have a czar in there, and you have Trotsky. Oh god, Lenin, Stalin. Fuck, marry, kill, BFF, follow their ideology forever, wins the battle ideas. Okay, so I have to go Makhno for the ideology. I'm going to follow Makhno. And I'm going to warn him about what Lenin does. I'm going to fuck Stalin because he was hot when he was young. And maybe I can, like, I don't know, scar him a little bit while we're doing that and send him off the course. God, a czar or Trotsky? A czar or Trotsky? The people are gonna kill the czar. So, oh god, but I can't BFF. Oh, I can't marry or BFF the czar because they'll get me too with it. Okay, I'm gonna marry Trotsky, and I'm gonna talk mad shit to him the entire fucking time and hope to destabilize him a little bit and get him off course as well. And I'm gonna kill Tsar Nicholas. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's how that's gonna work. Oh, I didn't have a BFF. I'll go with Lenin for the BFF. Yeah. Maybe I could convince him to, like, not shell the anarchist club of Moscow. You know, maybe I could convince him as his best friend forever to. Oh yeah. Fuck Stalin for sure. He was hot when he was young, or at least he was good looking. He was a solid looker. Yeah, maybe I could steer Lenin away from hunting the anarchists. Hey, Sammy. Well, I mean, we are anarchists. We're doing a fuck, marry, kill, BFF. What was it? It was fuck, marry, kill, BFF, and follow their ideology. Yeah. Fucking Stalin is a good prospect. What do you mean he was hot all the time? Nah, I would BFF Trotsky. You know, it's a rough one as a, like, more than just fuck, marry, kill. Like, the BFF and follow their ideology kind of complicates things, but at least Makhno is in there, so I can follow Makhno's ideology. Hey, Public. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, exactly, Public. That's, you know, he was fuckable. Oh, Jesus, Sam. Makhno was a cab driver. I'd follow him. Let's see. Oh, Momo. Teacher my son had for over 6 months sent us an email misgendering him damn near every other word and informing us that he would receive a 0 on an assignment because he wasn't going to do an assignment on camera because he doesn't do anything on camera due to anxieties. Fun. Well, I hope that you gave that teacher an appropriate ass kicking, Momo. Oh, who would I do? Yeah, cat like that. Oh, Jesus. I don't think I could do it. I'd have to opt out. Like, kill myself then at that point. Like, I can't work that one. Yes, exactly. Public, exactly. Oh, okay. So we covered the completely misogynistic. Yeah, it's all cleared up now. 2 apologetic emails in 15 minutes. Nice. Adam Momo. So we covered the 100% misogynistic, totally regressive school assignment out of Texas, which, again, it's going to be my favorite story of the week. It's absolutely batshit insane. Somebody thought that was appropriate, but again, Texas. Now comes the sort of, like, let's play a guessing game. There is a bill making its way forward in Colorado that would give child sexual abuse survivors the ability to sue their abuser at any time. Who do you think is opposing the bill? It was a page, but pastique. It was a. We have cops. We have Republicans, conservatives, maybe liberals. Stalin. Come on. Who? Close, Momo. Close. It's Colorado, not the Deep South, though. Crid with the answer. It's the Catholics. Yep. God. It is the Catholics. Yep. Catholics are opposing this bill. Can't imagine why. Do they have, like, some sort of history of abuse of children? Yeah. Yeah, little on the nose, right? Exactly, Rosa. When I saw that, I was like, of course. Yeah, that's not sus at all. I don't know your U.S.'s pedophile history. No, this mystique. The Catholics globally. Oh, yeah, Sam. Happens all the time. Sorry, Sammy or Samantha. Yeah, happens all the time. The Catholics have been, like, literally bleeding cash since the, I think, Boston abuse scandal kicked off. It's as if they've got something to hide. I know, right? It's so weird. Quote from a tanky in another stream, re Trotsky. Trotsky wanted a perfect revolution and argued that the state was a vehicle of oppression always, even if the state were a proletarian or liberation state. When Lenin tried to educate him on it, Trotsky threw whiny white boy fits and ran away as he was exiled. Yeah, but you times 10. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's usually, I have seen both actually. I have seen like, generally they sue the diocese from what I've seen over the years. Like the Catholic Diocese of New York or the Catholic Diocese of Boston usually bear the weight of the legal responsibility. Yeah, even if you weren't sure about the Catholic Church even if you weren't sure before about the Catholic Church, I feel like that should cover it for you. I mean, the Catholics held a meeting. I'm not kidding you. After like the late 90s, early 2000s abuse scandals started breaking, the Catholics held a meeting in Vatican City and voted on whether they should expel any priest who was caught molesting or abusing children. And they voted against it. I mean, they collectively stated, for all intents and purposes, I mean, what are you going to do? Everybody's going to, like, molest a kid once in a while. So, I mean, you can't kick them out of the Catholic Church for that. What? What the fuck is wrong with you people? And Sam, that's the problem. That's the difference between MLs and anarchists right there. Okay. Okay. Can't have your cake and tongue isn't really working yet. Oh, dude, I had a fucking weird ass dream. I was back in middle school. Like, for the first day of middle school, I even had a soundtrack as I was walking into the school, and it is exactly as I remember it. Like, I mean, it was picture perfect. It was a deep cut into my memory. And I even had a fucking soundtrack as I walked in for the first time. And, like, I remember walking in and walking up those steps and over the top hallway and down the other side. Like, it was weird. And then I woke up in this shit broken body, which was even worse. Yeah, it was vivid. To make a joke in USA, which person would you choose as the worst father ever? Oh, I don't know. Who would we go with? I mean, we have some pretty fucked up examples, but I mean, that's what Mr. Scott Peterson, Woody Allen springs to mind. Like, I mean, on the scale of Steve Jobs, yes, Steve was pretty fucked up. Dupont de I can't do that in French. Sorry. I mean, you know, founding fathers. People who are still living. I mean, that's just, there's a bunch of examples of fucked up people. Killed his own kids by drowning them in a terrorist concrete. And now he's hiding. Nice. Joe Brown, right? Joe Brown, idiot. Don't make me choose. I hate them all. He was. Yeah. I mean, Woody Allen fucking raised his own. Like, come on, you're telling me there wasn't anything weird going on there? Like, he raised his own wife. Another quote from the same guy. Joseph Fritzl, Jesus Christ. All right, so where's the quote? Yeah, I know, exactly, idiot. Like, oh. How is Woody Allen still gonna work? Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Another quote from the same guy. White hegemonic supremacy is why we have to be staunch allies of China as members, residents of the imperial core. Ooh, lovely. That's a thing. So that's a thing. That's a thing. So, let me try and find the link for anybody who wants it. Wither. Here is the link. 80 disciplinary histories of 83,000 NYPD cops made public online officially after the court ruling. Link in chat. Wilhelm, it's a solid place to be. I respect it. I don't fucking get how people say, oh, trust me, Cave. I don't understand it either. I don't like, I mean, I get it on an intellectual level, like how they're arriving at that position, but I just don't get it. How depressing. Hey, Bavarius. Wait, who was it? No, it was B over that sent me a DM. Yeah. How depressing is that link going to be? Abuse of authority appears way more often than you'd like it to appear. Let's just put it that way. They got their disciplinary histories, basically their file, their permanent record, with her. Permanent. Yeah. Yes, mister. The mantra is AES. Actually existing socialists. But, you know, yeah. For me, like, it's still, I still trigger off, like, in my head coming from IT. When I see AES, I don't, actually existing socialism doesn't pop up. It's advanced encryption standard. You've seen probably AES 128 or AES 256 at some point in your travels online. Yeah, more like nays. Yeah, it's 219. Yeah, it's advanced encryption standard. That's what pops off in my head because I started. I mean, my coding back in the day. I mean, when I was 14, I started on encryption algorithms. I used to write encryption algorithms and software encryption software. I would write the GUI in Object Pascal, and I would write the encryption functions in assembly. And so, yeah. When I see AES, it doesn't pop off socialism in my head. It takes me a half a beat to be like, oh, context. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. So, I think that's really all of the... there's some billionaire donor to the GOP who's being accused of running, quote, the biggest tax fraud scheme ever. So that's a thing, you know. And what's this douche's name? I forget. Robert Brockman, CEO of Ohio-based software company Reynolds and Reynolds, $2 billion tax fraud scheme. Which rich person did he scam? So yeah, that's he's basically connected to a significant portion of the GOP. So look for some interesting developments there. Ugh. Oh, all right. Oh, and there was one exchange that I absolutely adored. There was on somebody actually was posting on Reddit talking about Elon Musk and his value as a creator and shit like that. And this guy posed the question, well, should Elon Musk be paid the same as a Tesla car designer? What ratio would you think is fair? And the top response, just within the minute, clearly not. The engineers provide a lot more value. Not exactly the answer they were expecting. Yeah, he should be paid less than the engineers and designers, quite frankly. Yeah, not exactly the answer they were expecting. And I enjoyed the fuck out of that one. Negative money to capitalists. Oh, all right. Samantha, if you want to jump on the line, if you want to jump into voice chat, we can talk. We can have a conversation like civilized human beings without one of us devolving to grunts, hopefully. Oh. Oh, what's up, Samantha?
Nothing much. Just got to eat some of the fun food from the garden I was talking about the other day.
Anti-gruntists? I know, right? Weird. Big Bear, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad. Newman's really interesting from a post-anarchist point of view. Capitalists get farm labor. Now, we don't need to go down that non-compete road of fucking putting them in camps and shit. I finally saw that video the other day, actually, that Kat has mentioned for ages now about how fucking non-compete literally has a video where he talks about, well, what would an anarchist society look like? And he talks about putting the capitalists in camps. And it's like, bro, that ANCOM shit, you got a little too much of the com and not enough of the an. Yeah. We ain't returning to Ooga Booga.
I feel called out.
It's the way it goes. For those of you that I'm going to gloss over this. Samantha has had an interesting 7 days or so, 6 days, I'd imagine. And moving forward from that, we're just it's part of their rehabilitation. Yeah, I know. Yeah, summer camps. It's creepy the way he puts it. But the problem is there's camps would just be another source of it's a nightmare situation. You're like, look, you'd embed them in society and rehabilitate that way. You wouldn't put them in a fucking camp. Like, it's not what you're trying to do. It's a creepy throwaway line in one of his videos that you're just like, as an anarchist, you hear it and you're like, did he just suggest throwing people in camps? Yeah, he does. He mentions multiple times that he's run a couple of businesses in his day, Cat. I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's where he's coming from. It's a very business-oriented position. To be honest, as a fake anarchist, I'm not 100% opposed to that, says Cave. All right. So we were going to have a little discussion of theory and stuff like that. Because, Samantha got to see what the authoritarian axis looks like and how they behave when they get riled up.
Maybe not a theory discussion as much as of an exchange of ideas to helpfully educate me on better ways to do things.
You know, one, don't engage with people who yell about gorilla power.
Yeah, I fucked up on that one. I fucked up.
I can't. It's just a joke.
But at least I was the only authoritarian communist at the time that was not denying genocides and was not putting Stalin and Lenin and Mao on pedestals like they did nothing wrong.
Yeah. Okay. So here's sort of like the anarchist position. Essentially, like we don't even. Hang on, let me just scroll this for a ways. We're anti-authoritarian to start with, right? Like that's our starting position, is that there's no way to mitigate or moderate or mediate that power. That essentially what will happen with, this is especially a critique, a post-left critique, is that you have specialization or professionalization, then you have an ossification of the ideology, and then you have substitutionalism. So basically, there's the roles that get assigned to people, that you're either council members or you're, a manager or a field manager or something like that along those lines. You always have that sort of structure, very centralized structure within those circles. Even though it may be a star pattern, there's essentially a center to it. And then you have, that hierarchy that starts to develop through that specialization or professionalization, and then you have the ossification of the ideology, and then you have substitutionalism, which is essentially the individual who was the aesthetic that the movement was targeted at. That, we're here to free the workers, we're here to empower the workers, that sort of thing. Then through the process of substitutionalism becomes subservient to the ideology, rather than the ideology becoming subservient to them. And so, like in anarchism, we talk about anarchism being a lens or a tool of analysis all the time. It gives us a methodology for stepping back from things and looking at it and saying, okay, what's wrong with this structure or organizational structure or methodology or ideology? And the difference between like anarchism and socialism and communism, or even DemSoc or SocDem, or, republicanism or conservatism, it doesn't really matter, is that it functions as this lens of analysis. It actually operates as a toolkit, more so than just an ideology. Because in the words of Emma Goldman, there is no utopic anarchism. There is no monolith of philosophy. It's a network of ideas. And in her own words, we much prefer it that way. So there is competing anarchistic threads and thoughts and theories constantly. Like anarchists engage in very much a marketplace of ideas sort of scenario a lot of the time. And it's these critiques that anarchists bring to the table of not just the right, but also of the left, and specifically of the authoritarians, that give us that sort of one historical perspective, but also a contemporary critique perspective that you see it immediately in like ML circles or MLM circles. You see that, people are immediately put in charge of things. They're appointed. They are ossified into that position, and there develops then a power dynamic, a series of power relationships or power dynamics that become the guiding principle for the party, for the council, for the movement. And very quickly, what you have is just a reordered hierarchy. Rather than the empowerment of some group, what happens is it's just, we're just going to switch these labels around. Rather than what the anarchists say is, it wasn't the labels that were the problem. The problem was that you have a power dynamic that is inherently exploitative. And until you fix that power dynamic, you're just going to be shuffling around who gets exploited by whom.
There can be power dynamics that are non-exploitative, though.
There are just hierarchies, and we talk about them within anarchism. So I don't know if you heard me do it, but collapsing down of hierarchical power structures into a hierarchical organizational structure or a horizontal one, and a philosophical challenging of unjust power and authority mechanisms wherever they may lie, and the dismantling or replacement thereof. And there are examples of just hierarchy, such as a pirate ship, or a properly functioning parent-child relationship. The classic example of anarchists is that, you know, if the child is young enough and, you know, pre-education level that you, like, the child starts to wander in front of a car in a street, you grab them and you pull them back. Like, you don't, you know, do that. You don't just let them go. But the fact of the matter is that all of the power dynamics involved in the state are unjust hierarchies. The state is the problem. I mean, it is a calcified, solidified version of a hierarchical power structure in which the base of the populace doesn't actually, they contribute the most, but they receive the least, and they have the least control over it.
But you're also looking at things from like an end game, like this is how it should be. And like I could agree that should be that way, right? But until like everywhere agrees that that's the way we should do things, unless we have a, you know, standing army, an authority figure to speak on our behalf to say other countries that might be a harm, there is going to be a hard time defending ourselves from outside threats. Because anytime, in obviously the modern world, you want to go against the capitalist, like, you know, society that they have built and go your own route, what tends to happen? Another capitalist country comes and tries to overthrow you from inside or outside, or directly just fucks you up. So like,
but
that's kind of like where I'm at.
Okay,
like,
so
right now I think what would work best is more of an authoritarian-ist kind of way-ish, not like completely like psychotic dictator, but like,
but there's
you know,
no way to
a strong
restrict
person
that.
we like directly vote for it, and like that there's not like a term limit or anything. Like if you fuck up or you do something stupid, or you're not putting the interest of the people as a whole, as we have spoken about, like then you can be fucking yeeted at any time.
Except one. All right, so one, Makhno is my answer to that. If you're not familiar, he's the Ukrainian anarchist that Lenin, it took 2 times with Lenin for them to actually undermine them. And Makhno managed to fend off people from every angle. Anarchistically organized militias that went toe-to-toe with some interesting professional soldiers at the time. And it was only through a war of attrition and resource undermining that Makhno was actually...
What year was that in, though?
That was the Ukrainian Revolution.
Okay, so nowadays we do things with drone strikes and like, you know,
well, that's
hacking
even
your
easier.
fucking government infrastructure. Yeah,
I mean,
so it's like,
that makes it even
they don't
easier.
even have to like be here and like come into our country to undermine us. They can just literally fly shit over via some like weird sweaty dude in a, you know, cubicle somewhere.
Yeah, oh yeah, Broza, for sure. That makes it even easier. During Makhno's era, you had to do shit manually. And so given the technological level and the fact that IT is already familiar with distributed network, organizational networks and community projects such as open source technologies, I mean, we open source everything we can within IT. So we could actually have every community building a drone if we so chose. It wouldn't be a thing. So that's an easy technological fix for the modern day era. And IT already understands anarchistic organizing principles. I mean, you look at something like I2P, which is a fully distributed network layer on top of the internet that is self-contained. That's the technology advantage would go lengths and it would go miles and miles towards as a force multiplier, and you know, in any sort of asymmetric sort of situation. But yes, anarchists have successfully organized large-scale militias correctly. If you read Orwell's Homage to Catalonia, he discusses the organizational structure of what an anarchist militia looks like and how it operates in Homage. And so, yeah, it's something we've already done and experienced, and the fact of the matter is that, you know, you have large-scale organizations such as like the Iroquois Confederacy or the Iroquois League that operated anarchistic principles, direct democracy, federated hierarchical societies with a mild matriarchal spin. The women were considered counselors. That, you know, if you wanted advice, you went to the elder women in their society. And so that's really not that big of an issue. Plus, we already have all of the technology built. It's not like we'd be constructing an army from scratch in that scenario. I mean, it already exists. But to the point of capitalist subversion, this is something that no socialist or communist has managed to successfully fend off. Not once. It's never happened. I mean,
That's fair.
Lenin created state
That's fair.
capitalism.
Like, I can't speak to much for my knowledge. So like, just so a refresher, just so your chat doesn't think like I'm some weirdo tanky trying to like, hardline just disagree with you or not wanting to understand or be open to our ideas. I haven't been a leftist for very long, so bear with me here.
Poser.
I'm learning. I'm fucking learning.
Fucking LARPer.
I mean, fine. I'll just go back to being a libertarian. Fuck it.
There have been the days that I talk about how the left is driving people away. Yeah.
Oh no, there was this great book that taught me exactly what that entailed. Like I think it's sitting right behind you, and that book has been such a fucking eye opener to me. I think that's one of the best books regarding politics I have ever read.
I always tell people, if you haven't already read this, I don't know why. Like
that fucking book is amazing.
Yeah.
Whoever said I haven't read Das Kapital, that's sitting to my left. Das Kapital is literally to my left, all 3 volumes. Fuck off.
I have a unified unabridged version that is just one book.
The black one?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I have. The black one with the
2 pages per page in the smallest font possible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the one I have as well.
Like 800. I'm like, wow, I ordered a fucking textbook. Great.
Yeah, I use it as a reference guide. There's no way I'm ever reading that.
Yeah, no, I use it to hold things down outside when we have tornadoes.
it's a thing.
In California, right?
Solarial, fucking with a lorem ipsum paragraph. Hello. Right. Yeah. Hey, Solarial. I'm waiting for the movie adaptation. I read the manga. Soros sent me a copy. Momo needs the audiobook. Actually, Momo, I can hook you up with a YouTube channel that read Das Kapital. There is a dude who read the entire thing. Here you go. Here's the YouTube channel. It's there.
So, like, learning that the anarchist stuff from you is like first time I'm hearing of a lot of these things, right? Whereas most of my knowledge pertains to, either communist theory and oh, it's King of William, and a lot of war stuff. For information, I'm a prior little dog of war. I spent 30.5 years in the United States Army, and so I'm definitely on this. That's kind of my viewpoint on why we need a strong army, and I have certain preconceptions. I think I went with more of an authoritarian take in communism because it's what I'm comfortable with, because it's what I already know, because we're kind of already, without the communism part, we're already definitely authoritarian. And so maybe it's a comfort thing. I don't know. I may be wrong.
The U.S. Department of Defense has some of the most interesting studies outside of the British Architectural Association, which this is a weird pairing, but it is. They've both looked into deeply hierarchical organizational structures, and the DoD actually has a series of command classes on implementing hierarchical organizational structures in the field. Yeah.
In the field, I mean, that's like the entire organization of the military.
Yeah. That's and I try to explain to people that when you're under fire, there isn't time to run stuff up the chain the way that you expect a hierarchy to operate.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
And so you have to empower your soldiers. You have to give them the tools and the intellect to operate in that situation and hope that they can, coordinate the task. And they do quite effectively. And this is the DoD commissioned a couple of studies on hierarchical organizational structure that I reference from time to time.
They're never going to call it that. They're just going to say, see, your training took over. See, it was muscle memory. See, yep. The shit in the 400 books and the numerous promotion boards we had you go through and the stuff we hammered into your head. Look, it's just kind of doing what it's supposed to do. The link is further up, Wither.
if you're looking for the Das Kapital thing. But yeah, no, it's a thing. And then the British Architectural Association looked at it as well and came to the same conclusion, that it's more productive. The workers find it a better working environment. There's less turnover. Customers are provided with a more satisfying end product. It's less costly. It's more efficient. It's, these sort of anarchistic organizational structures are not new. Anarchists divide things into three categories, basically: anarchy, anarchist, and anarchism. And so, like, an indigenous society would be operating under anarchy, right? But they wouldn't have anarchists, and they wouldn't have anarchism, right? Like, that's not what they're doing. They would be operating under anarchy, though, and any anarchist could identify the principles of anarchism that society is operating under. And so they would be able to converse that, but it's sort of a one-way street. Hey, Ninja. Yeah, Wither, I'll have to hunt that down for you. That's not at my fingertips. But I mean, when it comes down to it, I actually, have you ever, because you come from the communism side, are you aware of the incident at the First International?
No, but I'm open to enlighten me, please.
So Marx and Bakunin basically had it out, and the anarchists were expelled. This is some of the pettiest shit you've ever heard. Hang on, forgive me. Here we go. It is some of the pettiest shit you've ever heard. Basically, Bakunin came in with a bunch of theory critiques of Marx. And since these are two, like, heavyweight theorists, it was direct. It was Bakunin and Marx going at each other. This wasn't like secondary or tertiary level people. These were the headliners, right? Like, these are the keynote speakers. And Bakunin hits Marx with a bunch of critiques. And Marx basically throws a bitch fit. And they expel the anarchists from the First International, and they're never invited back to the Second International or any of the subsequent events that splintered off and segmented out as a result of Bakunin's critiques. And I'm just going to really quickly read you what Bakunin said. And this is what so got under the Marxist skin. Marx is an authoritarian and centralizing communist. He wants what we want: the complete triumph of economic and social equality. But he wants it in the state and through the state powers, through the dictatorship of a very strong and, so to say, despotic provisional government, that is, by the negation of liberty. His economic ideal is the state as sole owner of the land, of all kinds of capital, cultivating the land under the management of state engineers, and controlling all industrial and commercial associations with state capital. We want the same triumph of economic and social equality through the abolition of the state, and all that passes by the name of law, which in our view is the permanent negation of human rights. We want the reconstruction of society and the unification of mankind to be achieved not from above, downwards by any sort of authority, nor by socialist officials, engineers, or other accredited men of learning, but from below upwards, by the free federation of all kinds of workers' associations liberated from the yoke of the state. And this speaks to the fundamental difference of communists and anarchists, is the anarchists are concerned with individual autonomy for the betterment of the society, whereas communists are about the betterment of the society with hopes that it will benefit the individual.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
So, like, I have like 4 big points on why I'm still like on the communism side. One of them would be like, so in where it's all done by like little communities, right? Community-based ruling, basically.
I mean,
kind of type thing.
you can say little, but I mean, anarchists have successfully organized large, like scope and scale has been addressed using federation pretty effectively at this point. But yeah.
No, I'm not trying to say that they're all just like little thing, but like it's basically the community governs itself.
Yes.
What's to stop like a capitalist community from starting their own community within and then usurping everything around it?
couple few things, maybe, depending on how you want to go about it. And just for organizational structure, usually anarchists rely on Dunbar's number and federate out from that. So here's the interesting thing. I would point to something like Kospaya. The anarchistic Republic of Kospaya lasted for 375 years. It's a small municipality in Italy. It was surrounded by the Papal States. Basically, there was a land dispute that happened, and both sides drew the map differently and left a stretch of land as sovereign. It was just independent. Nobody claimed it. And the people who inhabited it immediately saw that opportunity and seized upon it. And they're like, well, here's the deal. We're going to do this. So they declared sovereignty. Lasted for 375 years. Now, the only reason that it was eliminated in the end, that they had to surrender their sovereignty is because the entirety of the papal institution, states, and the surrounding states basically blockaded them and starved them out. Now, why do I mention this? Because it would seem that it's pointing to your problem. The fact of the matter is that, one, they were like a few hundred people. Right? And they were up against millions. They didn't stand a chance to start with if that full weight came to bear. But if you rebalanced this equation, you'd find it played out very differently. Because the reason they blockaded them and starved them out is because that small strip of land became an actual competitor to the entirety of the Papal States in the resource game. They were doing better than everybody else. So much so that they became a refuge for when the papacy, the Catholics, were persecuting Jews throughout all of what would become Italy. They fled to Kospaya because Kospaya, operating as anarchists, didn't recognize this sort of behavior and welcomed them. And so they became so amazing at production and resource gain because they had this flattened organizational structure, because they had what would probably be referenced as anarcho-communitarianism. They were out competing something that was orders of magnitude larger than them in resource production and gain. Now, if you scale this correctly and look at what happens, there are things like Trumbleplex outside Detroit, Michigan, which is an anarchistic co-op. They have residences, they have an arts center, they've got a theater, they've got a library, they've got their own internet hookup, they've got a whole bunch of stuff. They have a membrane by which they operate with a capitalist society, right? They are encapsulated by capitalism. But they've been around for, I think they just celebrated their 27th year. They're still going strong. Without that will for the authoritarians to truly dominate, like they did in the instance of Kospaya, what actually happens is that capitalism can't stand on an equal footing with an anarchistically organized commune or cooperative. It's just not a thing. They can't do it. And you can point to things like, either Mondragon or other factoids, such as 30% of the global economy is actually made up of cooperatives. The fact that worker-owned cooperatives have a higher success rate, a longer survival rate, they have less turnover, they weather economic downturns better. So
can confirm on the worker co-op.
Yeah.
I'm part of them.
So when you implement these structures, unless you are surrounded by people who are willing to go to war with you, literally, generally they actually survive pretty effectively. And more often than not, hey, thank you for the sub, public. More often than not, what you find is that these are the systems that are created when everything else has turned against you. So when the Spanish Civil War pops off, you have 50% of agriculture and industry being produced by anarchistically organized communes, right? Like when the Korean action proxy wars kick off, what you have is a whole bunch of Korean anarchists who all of a sudden are providing for their society because it is the most resilient methodology for production, for organization, and it utilizes a dynamic influence that most human beings already innately have. And so there's only minimal education that's required. And so my answer to that would be, what would be stopping that? Well, it depends what scenario or set of hypotheticals you want to set up. If you are in direct competition and you don't have something like the United States government to step in, if you're just doing like in a vacuum scenario, what you would have is the anarchist belief that the individual and society both have the right to self-defense. So what measures they would be making, it depends on what the proportional, what they do would determine what the proportional response would be, to put it into militaristic terms. Now, if you have an entity such as the United States government that is obsessed with squashing you, there's only so much you can do realistically at the end of the day. And I think that any good theoretician should admit this to themselves. Like, when the full weight of the United States government or the Chinese government or the Russian government comes to bear, there's only so much a movement can do. And, you know, I mean, this is proven in Soviet Russia with, like, how I referenced Lenin and the Anarchist Club of Moscow. They literally shelled the club, by the way. Artillery shelled. And any survivors that made it out, they machine gunned. And then they spent the next few years hunting anarchists. Kronstadt, bunch of workers wanted to own their own labor. Yeah, what a concept. Kill them out in the forest. It's about 2,000. You know, China used to have anarchist clubs as well. Mao hunted them to extinction. There's not much you can do when the full weight of that level of imperialism comes to bear against you. But some of the best examples of surviving anarchism under that sort of situation, despite, oh God, I mean, 1880s, so 1881, right, would be Haymarket. My date may be off on that one. And then the Wilson administration publishes a whole bunch of anti-anarchist pamphlets, and then anarchism becomes a buzzword again under the Nixon administration. This country has been trying to stamp out anarchism using propaganda and forceful means. I mean, the Palmer raids rounded up thousands and deported all of those foreign anarchists. And, I mean, communists and socialists as well. But, I mean, people like Emma Goldman were pissing them off a little more than anybody else, quite frankly. And so, but it survived. It survived in the Jewish diaspora. It survived in the workers', rhetoric. It survived in some of the operating modalities. And there are anarchist communes in Virginia, in Michigan, in California. And so the theory, the ideology, the methodology survives even despite a highly inhospitable environment over, for all intents and purposes, a century. Hey, Maniac. So
okay, yeah, because my concern was like, how do we kind of like enforce our safety or protect safety if we were to get to this end goal of like a anarchist society, right? Like, how would we defend and protect that from outside sources? Not to go back to like Trotskyist bullshit, but like, how true socialism can't be achieved until, like the whole world, right? Like what's to stop, say, United States becoming an anarchist society, and then China, Russia, the EU and everybody like, well, fuck this shit. They're not playing by, the world capitalist economic goals anymore. So like, fuck them.
Well, I mean, that's so Machno would be the answer to that. Anarchists have successfully organized. And if we had, if we had the U.S., like in that scenario, if we had the U.S.'s full resources to bear, one, we'd probably reduce the military spending without actually reducing the capacity of the military, because you better than most would know how poorly we spend money in the military.
Okay. I want to clarify this for people that don't know. The people actually doing the damage in the military, there's been times where like we've literally had to like count rounds of ammunition to make sure we had enough to go fight. There's been times where like we're asking our moms to send us batteries from Radio Shack because we have to go on night missions, and our NVGs like S4 and Supply did not have any batteries for us. Like I remember people, I used to have my mom send us boxes of Radio Shack RC cars as our little IED testers on the side of the road to go like run an RC car into like a piece of trash on the side of the road to see if it was like a trigger. Like it was pretty fucked up. But you know what? The Air Force gets like $230 fucking insulated coffee mugs. And then people like Harris Communications get like big kickbacks from the military for some stupid radios that never fucking work. But the budget, like cutting the military budget as it is now, always will hurt the people at the lowest. And the people that are literally the lowest rank in the military doing the hardest jobs are all minorities, people in bad situations, and that's who it's going to affect. So it's like I'm like really hit or miss. Like I would love to cut the budget, but at the same time, I want them to make like I want like a fucking paper that shows where every fucking dollar they spend goes, so we can say cut it by this here. I don't want any of that affecting like the people at the bottom in the current society we live in.
Yeah, and I mean and if we were to anarchistically organize that, like Machno's, I mean, we call them militias because the fact of the matter is they weren't a formal army. But people think militia, they think like 12 dudes who are weekend warriors. So I'm hesitant to use that term, but in the classical sense, it's, you know, they were very much militias. But one of the interesting things was they were free to walk away at any time. There was nothing keeping them there other than their sense of responsibility and duty.
It's how it should be. I can't tell you how many countless friends I've had going over there and seeing some things and not being able to handle it and realizing that this was not the job that they wanted, but they were stuck.
Do I have any movies to recommend that shows what an anarchist society would look like? There's not many movies that do that.
Fight Club.
Not.
That's a joke. That was a joke. That was a joke.
We do have a Snowflake command on the channel though. That because you know Snowflake comes from Fight Club.
No
right?
way.
Yeah. There's a Snowflake command on the channel. We deal with chuds more than we deal with. I mean, these days we're fighting tankies, but the fact of the matter is most days we're fighting right wingers.
Would you consider me a tanky? When I brought up like my authoritarian concern right now?
No, because you're not. Well, I mean, you've got the aestheticism thing. You got like the hammer and sickle. So that's.
Well, that though, that's not. I wouldn't consider that a symbol of tankies. Like.
It's an inclusive. So like there's the over aestheticization, but there's the like somebody who unironically stands authoritarian governments like the Soviet Union, China, North Korea, take your pick, while actively denying genocides, killings, or really new problems.
Also, ew.
Yeah, see, that's you don't meet the.
You won't find me glorifying Stalin or Lenin. Like they're pieces of shit. Yeah, cool. Soviet aesthetics were cool, but a lot of classic culture aesthetics are fucking cool. But I'm not going to sit there and be like, everything needs to be about Stalin and let me get this Yashanka hat and all this weird no.
Yeah, it's more, it's like we do use a qualifier for the over aestheticization, but then you have to meet the rest of the rubric. You know, are you unironically talking about how Daddy Stalin was the best ever and never, you know, there was no famine, there was no genocide, there was no imperialism. Mao is the most brilliant X, Y, and Z, right? Like if you, it's all of the apologist and revisionist stuff that ends up fully qualifying you as a tanky.
Radical Maniac, can we not talk about that dude?
yeah, Maniac. We're just going to not
got him banned.
Not banned, suspended.
Actually, as of tomorrow, we're gonna start this shit all over again.
Yeah. You did hear who's coming on, right?
Oh God, who?
Moppin. Caleb.
Okay,
Sunday stream.
Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Wonderful.
Sunday stream. Caleb Moppin.
Okay.
So that's a thing.
No, I'm very for the workers. So when I said I was a libertarian, I was a business owner. I have since, like, you know, when people say put your money where your mouth is, when you change like your views and stances, I went and learned how hard it was to actually become a co-op in the United States. Mm-hmm. So on paper, we are not a co-op. You cannot do that. On paper, I'm still the CEO of the company. However, all of my employees, air quotes, are all equal share owners and listed as like CFO, COO, or partner with all equal. And it's really hard to fucking do that.
Yeah. I mean, there's anarchist movies, but honestly, most of the stuff you're going to find, it's going to be in a diverse set of podcasts and books. Anarchists are notoriously wordy. Where anarchists are like 95% education, because that's what we see as the problem, is that most people grew up in a capitalist society. Most people grew up under hierarchies. Most people grew up under these sort of, we'll use Marxian terms, material conditions, right? So what an anarchist's job is to do is to expose other people to these ideas and start the process of understanding that, oh shit, there are alternatives to this, that there are radical alternatives that are far more, thank you for the follow, Dumerd, far more out there than any of the stuff. Like, I mean, the right wing in this country are like crazy communists. Dude, the communists aren't, like, honestly that crazy. They're just sort of an inverse of what already exists. But it isn't really changing the fundamental structure. It's just...
Well, ideally it is. I mean, if you're talking like I was saying, more like a Luxembourgist, right? Where you're just having the councils, but like, I mean, it's similar, but it's not. But ultimately, like, where it should be is the workers, the people that are doing all the work need to have, like, we have no say. There's no fucking say.
And I mean, that's the thing with, I mean, especially like the authoritarian brands. I mean, Lenin, Trotsky, Stalin, Mao, I mean, even fucking Deng. They're all authoritarians. And so the people are never in charge. It always falls to the vanguard party or the council or the learned academics, right? Like that's how they organize it. That's the fundamental structure. And so they do it in the name of the workers. So that's why we talk about aesthetics a lot, is that it's always presented as we're going to liberate the working man, but it's always behind the scenes. If you do the analysis of the structure, you're not liberating the working man so much as you are hijacking the working man. Kant, Demanding the Impossible, A History of Anarchism by Peter Marshall. And if you want to round it out more, Anarchism in Latin America by it's basically Angel J. Capoletti, but it's Angel. But yeah, Anarchism in Latin America will round out Demanding the Impossible. And so yeah, this will get
Latin
you.
America. That was another communist thing that really hit me, was the EZLN.
Yep. The South America, Latin America, has some of the... Okay, so the Zapatista's organizational structure at the municipal level very much follows some anarchistic guidelines. So we do name check them. But they have watered their shit down over the years. And so what exists now versus what existed then is a whole different ballgame. And so we have to make that distinction. But Latin America... welcome, Kant. Latin America has some of the most hardcore anarchists in history. Like, Argentinian anarchists, Chilean anarchists are crazy as fuck. Like, they don't fuck around. So, yeah, that's a really interesting history to look into, is they sort of took the propaganda of the deed memo and just ran with it and never stopped running. And so, yeah, if you want to see some hardcore anarchist action and takeovers of manufacturing facilities and just like, it's ours now. Like, too bad. It's just ours. It's the workers. We own it.
That's where I've been taking my education towards, is the Zapatistas.
Yeah, I would say go further south. Much further south.
What do you mean?
Definitely Argentina and Chile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you meant further, literally. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, much further south. Does that mean Second Amendment anarchy? Wait, what, mister? I mean, this is the joke we tell people who come in here all the time from the right. that, you know, well, how do you feel about like gun control and Second Amendment? And, you know, we have a habit of telling them, if you go far enough left, you get your guns back.
I mean, there is that whole, like, if for everybody who loves the Second Amendment, they'll fucking love the under no pretext bit.
Yeah, it's I do throw marks at them from time to time. That, you know, it's, you know, and anarchists are about the individual autonomy, so we wouldn't comment on it to start with. Like, as long as you don't harm society or another individual with your weapon, like outside of, you know, your right to defense, then we don't really have anything to say about it. It's not under our purview of critique. But do you need an AR-15? I mean, an AR-15 is no more special or different or amazing than most of the rifles out there, quite frankly.
Okay. This is
it's
such a weird argument because, like, I can do as much damage with a pistol as I can with an AR-15.
It's the aesthetics of the gun. You and I both know that. It's a scary-looking gun. Yeah, that's what that's about.
An SKS that is manually loaded, not magazine fed, like without the magazine mod, right, is more dangerous and harmful to the human body than an AR-15.
And the majority of, quote, mass shooting events are done with handguns, not rifles.
Exactly.
It's just a non-issue talking point. Yes, I need an AR-15.
With anarchism, and this is going to sound funny coming from an ex-libertarian. Would anarchism make, because I believe in red flag laws. As a veteran, I've lost friends to the 22 a day statistic, and I am for red flag laws. Would anarchism actually make a place for that within their society?
It would depend on the society.
For public safety purposes.
The way scope and scale and federation works within anarchism is essentially you have what are generally called as affinity groups, right? So that affinity could be anything. You could build it out of workplace. You could build it out of a geographic community. You could build it out of, you know, a group of LGBT. You know, it doesn't really matter. But ultimately what you have is this free association of reciprocal power relationships that are comprised of individual autonomous people. But that operates usually on a consensus or direct democracy level. And so if you have an affinity group that is, say, a locality, that, say, town, whatever, borough of a city, it doesn't really matter. They would be the ones that are putting forth, you know, the sort of rules of the society. How are we going to operate? What is our operating methodology or modality? And it would be voted upon and decided upon and under a consensus decision-making system, which this is another thing anarchists talk about, that this does fuck with authoritarians' brains. And under a consensus decision-making system, any one person can have a veto. And nobody usually understands how that can even function. Like, how do you get something done if everybody can say no? But it's actually really productive and really effective. And if I have a video lesson on it, and I have a script, a textual lesson. If you want my cs.kaisthinks.com for chat, it's my cheat sheet. Go to the anarchism section, and there will be consensus decision making, and you can read up on how this process works.
Okay, so you're saying that within an anarchistic society, right, or an anarchist society, there can be like different ways to regulate your local communities.
Yes.
Within that,
yep,
upon agreed upon circumstances. So what you're saying is, like, you can have your anarchy in your anarchy society, and if some of us did want, because I'm gonna be real, I'm really good at just fucking following orders and doing what the fuck I'm told and being happy with it.
That.
And if no,
well, but
me,
that would be, you would be providing consent. You would be utilizing your autonomy to agree to that.
Autistic, so it's really it's much easier for me to not have to think about things to do. Just me personally. So like, say a group of us wanted to make like a communist little community and run it that way, where we have our little leader just for that little community and run it things that way. That would be totally cool. As
long as you didn't attempt to enforce or oppress other people that have affinity groups. Yeah, we would.
Fine, love it.
Yeah, we would just interact with you on the same reciprocal basis, whereas we would be operating as a collective of autonomous individuals operating as a collective, and y'all would have some hierarchical structure that we channel through.
Just within our community.
Yeah, we would interface with that just the same way. Just the same way Trumbleplex interfaces with a capitalist society.
I'm sold.
Yeah,
Sold. Down.
we don't. So the like you were talking like earlier about how it seems like an end goal for anarchists actually, but this is where, because I'm a post left, post anarchist, right? Like bunch of post gang rise up. We've got a few posts in my channel, in my community. Basically, post-anarchism is the embracing of the fact that there's actually not really much work to be done. That when you fully understand the concept of anarchism and how power dynamics work, that you end up with this sort of Foucault criticism, and what you realize is that all you have to do is change your mind. It's literally that simple. And then it's just a matter of having other people agree with you. And so that begins the anarchist education portion of the program. But beyond that, there really isn't anything to do. There is no revolution. There is no, as anarchists like to say, Marx used to say, don't write recipes for the cookshops of the future, right? Anarchists say there is no project of projects. Because if I were truly to achieve an anarchist society, like, doesn't really matter. Communities, a city, a town, a village. It doesn't really matter what size we're talking. What's going to happen is I'm going to create a dynamic network of individuals who have full autonomy. And there's no way for me to predict or prefigure how that order should be. And so for anarchists, all we are about at the end of the day is about creating a system that is sans that oppressive hierarchical structure and empowering the individuals. If those individuals want to form an affinity group and have a reciprocal free association relationship with others who agree upon those contractual grounds, that's anarchy. That's anarchism for us. If you want to come together with your affinity group, that is, okay, we want a form of hierarchy, and we're agreeing to this. We're not being oppressed into it. We are empowered individuals, and this is the way we are choosing to organize ourselves. As long as you don't oppress anybody else, we're good.
Inconsensual thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we will interact with you in good faith, and as long as you do the same with us and do not attempt to undermine, then we will continue, and it will be, basically a reciprocal contractual relationship.
Well, damn, I guess I'm gonna have to let the anarchists live after the revolution.
The kibbutz.
That was a joke.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't worry. None of my community full of anarchists, they all know not to turn their backs on any MLs. We know our histories around these parts. But yeah, the kibbutz is actually based upon those principles. There have been some really bad examples of the kibbutz, but there have been some really, Kai has a Red Army Guard. I've been told that numerous times. There's been a few MLs that have come through.
Red Army Guard.
Yes, there's been a few that have come through. They're like, "Don't worry, we got your back."
I will be the supreme leader of Kai's Red Army Guard.
That's the thing is, anarchists, we've often been used as cannon fodder by the MLMs, and so the modern anarchists are highly untrusting of any authoritarian leftist. But we're still willing to work.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you trusted me and had conversations with me, and we're able to have a talk rather than just be like, "Fuck you, you weird Marxist."
Yeah, as long as you don't that's the thing is, I really would have loved to have a conversation with that dude. But the fact of the matter is
there
that
was no conversation.
Yeah.
You can't converse with him.
Yeah,
That was the worst 8 hours of my life.
Yeah, I mean, that was my point. Was basically, I'm like, that's not a conversation. Like, he came into my channel one night, and he said, I heard you want to debate me, and I'm like, dude, I'm not a debate bro. I'm not
He's
that
he's
guy.
not either. He's not even a debate bro. He's just a rage bro. I would rather drive over another IED in Afghanistan than talk with that motherfucker again.
Joe said good night to you. Joe said love this back and forth, but Joe needs to go to bed. Good night, Joe. Yeah, I will not be walking around with an off ML buddy without some trust issues now. Thanks, Kai. It's just our history.
Well, even Lost Sue was saying I'm trustworthy and a good person. He knows my intention and where's my heart's at. I don't trust. Like, I would much rather trust a government that's willing to defend us. I think I'm just still upset at the fact that my people weren't able to defend themselves. From the colonizers when they came in. And I think a giant coalition of native, like, Red Army would have been like the greatest, like, hold on, I'm gonna put a joke on myself here, but the native, like, Redskin Army or something we would have been called. I mean, oh my god, I'm so mad about that. I think I'm one of those, like, angry uppity natives that's more out for revenge than restitution. So I don't have any trust unless it's a government, like, institution that I can put into place and manage and fucking take out of power and put into power by the decisions of the people as a whole, so that this kind of shit doesn't happen again. I think I'm just so jaded at fucking the native part of me is so jaded at it that, like, I will not believe anything that I cannot control as, like, one of the lower people in society.
And for that sort of thing, yes, Maniac 8 fucking hours. It's a whole thing. We won't go into the story. It's psychotic. Let's just leave it at that.
The story is literally 8 hours long to tell. It's not.
Yeah, it's wacky. Two, I would say, that's the sort of thing that you need experience with it to get over. Because I talk about, quite continuously on this channel about how there's two ways to learn usually. There's those that can absorb from theory and those that have to learn by experientially. And when it comes to, like, distributed hierarchical organizational systems such as anarchism, most people actually need to experience it. There's very few people that actually grasp it from theory. And so once you do it and you see how resilient and effective and equitable it actually is, then you start to come around on some of that stuff.
That's fair. The person was saying that if there was any richer academic natives, I'm going to say, yes, but very few and far in between, as if, like, if you live on a reservation, there's a lot going against you to keep you from rising to that point. I'm probably one of the very few I will say rich and academic, but that's because I exploited the American government, joined the military to get out of a bad situation, used a VA loan to open a business, and just was smart about that, and exploited capitalism to put a bunch of money on my pocket. Now I use that to make worker co-ops and support a lot of local unionizing things and a lot of small farms and farmers that are helping to do community grows for, well, the community. Yeah, but there's not many of us.
I've had to teach a bunch of fucking capitalists that technique over the years, that you can set up a business and not create it that way, right? Like, you don't have to be the dictator of the business. Like, there are ways to recoup your capital and still create an equal and equitable working conditions.
You make more money. You make more. Okay, we all make the same amount of money from the co-op. Okay, I'm gonna air quote, like, paycheck, right? What I take home, which is the same amount everybody takes home, right, is fucking, like, double what it was before. And here's the thing: we haven't had to go looking for any other employees because nobody wants to fucking leave.
Turnover is insanely low in co-ops.
Find a place where you're making this amount of money in a capitalist society as a fucking person who's putting a baguette in a bag and handing it to somebody and pushing 2 buttons on an iPad.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, part-time or full-time, it doesn't matter. You have full coverage health insurance. And that's because we made the decision that everybody that works at this co-op deserves it, whether they work 20 hours, 40 or 80, like the bakers do. They put their heart and soul into the bread. So much more profitable.
Bottom up organizing works better.
And just off the fact that a lot of people, especially in the Bay Area, right, they want to support local co-ops. So just by, saying you're a co-op, like not lying about it, but like, just like
Yeah.
putting out there, hey, we are all a co-op. People are like, fuck yeah, let's go support that instead of fucking Whole Foods or this bullshit or this bullshit. And co-ops, people need to fucking wise up on that shit. Libertarians, Republican, I don't care what fucking political party you're with, fucking open your eyes. Co-ops are so fucking based.
Okay, so somebody had, all right, Icaros, having guns for defense creates more problems and causes more deaths than it saves. Press X to doubt, but I mean, this is an American culture thing. First, have to train the people. Yes, what a concept. Make background tests or even psychological exams before you give someone a gun.
Oh, but before no. Yes, I as a FFL owner and everything. Yes, make background checks and psychological or psych evals a thing. But here's the thing: you cannot do that until you have free and equal access to that mental health care.
Yeah,
Because
this
it's
is
unfair. Say the people that need to be armed the most are the marginalized communities, the LGBT, people of color, natives. And guess what? We don't have that much money in comparison to the other people that can afford it to just go fucking like, yeah, I'm going to just casually go get a psych eval and then pay for this fucking CFL license and then pay for the fucking firearm. Like, it's a lot of money. So, like, you need to make all that free and equal access before you even want to implement that.
my stepfather has an FFL that you would probably kill for. He grew up, yes, there are actually different types of them. He grew up with who would become the bureau chief for the ATF long before it was the BATFE. I've had lockup tours of the Boston regional facilities of what they've confiscated from drug dealers and shit like that. Cannon was in one of the lockups. There was an actual cannon, like ahoy matey fucking cannon. But he has a non-sales required, non-facility required FFL, and it's good forever. He doesn't renew it. It's just...
Yeah, mine's every 10 year and lots of money, but
yeah,
I will say FFL was funny because for 4th of July one year, we went to a range that was set up for explosives, for like testing stuff. And me and my friends ran out and we bought 2 cases of grenades to go throw at the range at a washing machine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. EU, ATF. Yeah, no, they're a terrible organization, but that's neither here nor there. In this society, it's all about who you know. And it's even inheritable.
For sure. I would have not gotten my FFL cleared since I did have a criminal record, nothing of a felony. But like, when you get an FFL, your child record comes into play. That shit is not sealed on federal level background checks. Like for army security clearance or military security clearances and stuff like FFLs. Like, it's a deep fucking dive. And because of my military and some of the friends I made in the military due to my unit being what it was, I got an FFL and it was still a shitload of money, but I got it.
If he dies, the timer starts ticking on the FFL, but my mother or I can inherit it. And so will you have
to pay the renewal on inheritance?
We won't be able to renew it.
But you can claim it.
We'll have 10 years. Yeah. This is how fucked up some of this behind the scenes good old boy network shit is.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
It's, so yeah. And I mean, since we're family, you know the deal for FFLs, you can transfer the law enforcement and military additions to family. You can't sell it, but you can transfer it.
You can.
And so, yeah, I mean, that's a thing. Kant, yes.
Within a certain level. So like there's certain things on mine I can't transfer stuff. Like if I ever come across like, RPGs and shit like that, like no military grade explosive destructive weapons or anything like that. That is only to me because they're like literally tied to me and my social security number.
Unless you go get the tax stamp. I love that fucking shit. Like, oh, you can't own an automatic weapon. Well, you can if you pay $300 for a tax stamp. Ridiculous.
Wrong. $200.
Is it $200 these days?
$200. I just did one recently for a piece together AK that had come in from different parts of Iraq.
Let's see. Oh, Jesus. Juvenile records should not be private. It should be a public record, just like all criminal records. Here's a hot take. Your criminal record shouldn't be public. I don't trust...
Especially child records when you're growing up and doing stupid-ass shit, learning how to be a decent fucking human being. Rehabilitative justice.
Yeah, in Kant, I did speak briefly on the kibbutz. Some good, bunch of bad. Yes, they started organizing based off sort of a collective. It's less anarchistic and it's more communitarian. It's collectivist, right? Like it's literally a collectivist community by definition. So while you'll find elements in a kibbutz that you could probably say like, yeah, some anarchists do that, but it's not necessarily anarchistically organized. But you would find elements in a kibbutz that you definitely would find on communes of all sorts. And so, yeah, they are very much a collectivist style community, which, you know, there are collectivist anarchists, right? There are individualist anarchists, you know, but I'm fine with the concept. I just don't like their organizational structure a lot of the times. And also, like all of those sort of situations that are inspired by or created out of a religious group, there's more abuses of the individual that I'm comfortable even going into. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Just make people wait. I'm fine with that. Yeah, stop criminalizing children. I know, right? What a concept. Oh yeah, and Asteria put in earlier the channel take on that. As far as firearms ownership goes, the general community or the channel take is no guns for cops, guns for everybody else.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, you coming from the military know, I mean, anybody who's from a firearms family knows the cops really don't have the training. They don't have the range time. They don't have the discipline. They don't.
And I've stated numerous times on numerous different panels in debates with cops. Every time there's a comp that's prior military and does the thing they were trained to do by the military, they end up getting fired.
Yeah.
If cops were to train like the military does, which is very fucking strict, every time, this might be TMI for people, but every time you kill somebody downrange, right, in a deployment, in a combat zone, it is investigated like a murder. Everybody, it doesn't matter if they were shooting at you, it doesn't matter if they just executed a kid right in front of you and then you shot them, it's going to be investigated as a murder. If you did not kill that target in a combative state, you end up in fucking Leavenworth. You're called a fucking Whopper with fucking cheese. You're stripped of your rank. You're fined. You get no pay, and you get locked up in fucking Leavenworth because you murdered somebody. You murdered an enemy non-combatant. Which, yes, they are an enemy, but they are a non-combatant.
Yeah, and of course, none of this applies to PMCs, by the way.
It did not until 2011.
And even after then, presidential pardon will get you out of it.
Depends on the president, but yeah. I was really mad about that. It was so fucking heated.
Yeah, I mean, when even the SEAL ranks, you know, when the SEALs broke rank to try and get that done. Yeah.
Dude, it wasn't just SEALs. They had half the people from my fucking unit called that bitch out to you.
Yeah. It lets you get on Fox News. Then you get a pardon. Let's see. For thousands of years, the cops were the local garrison of troops. It's recent that we got cops that are different from soldiers. The history, I have an old podcast episode that talks about, it's called The Origins of and Problems with Modern Policing, that I go into that in depth, about how, you know, the origins of metropolitan police departments, first in London and then in Boston would be the first one on this continent. But how you have two branches of policing in this country that merge into one. You have the northern metropolitan police departments that were wholly financed and funded by industry and business. They were used near exclusively for union busting and worker assassinations. And then the southern policing, which was born out of the slave patrols. And these two elements have an unbroken thread from their origin point to modern day policing. And so when people talk about how the police are, you know, it's dysfunctional, it's broken, it's just the classic example of, you know, the educational system isn't broken. The economy isn't broken. These are functioning as intended. They're just not functioning in your favor. That's all. What's my take on this thread? I don't know. Oh, Jesus Christ. The first thing I see is Fidel Castro and Xi Jinping. Fuck me.
Daddy Fidel.
Fidel Castro wrote about Xi Jinping, quote, one of the strongest and most capable revolutionary leaders I have met in my life. Elsewhere, per secret U.S. documents leaked in 2019, he wrote, Xi is not corrupt and does not care about money. I mean...
Either Fidel is a bad judge of character, or Xi put on a really good front.
Yeah, because, I mean, no? No. Oh, and you asked me about the thread. So clearly there's something else happening that's just going to be levels of shit fuckery. Yep. All right, there's the China defense. Oh, yep, there's the invoking white. That's one of my...
Were both of these responses done from infrared?
No.
Sorry, I wanted to take a low jab.
Yeah, I always love that knee-jerk tanky response of another white supremacist, or another white person spouting CIA or Western propaganda points. It's like, Jesus Christ, get a new fucking line.
While I do agree on that to some extent because of my knowledge, not everything that is said about everywhere else is just some CIA like hit piece.
Yes, it is. It's all CIA hit pieces. Clearly, you have internalized white capitalist imperialist structure.
Oh my God.
And
start saying Monkey Sun will rise.
Yeah, like that's. I mean, I get hit with this shit all the time. I get hit more from the left than I do the right.
Like, I'm native, and I rarely do the whole I invoke the white thing. Like, rarely. And like, you have to really be on some dumbass take for me to pull that out.
Yeah, I've literally been told that outright by a tanky in chat before that I'm working for the CIA. That's why there's so many CIA jokes actually from like my core community.
Half of the tankies that call everybody else CIA plants or whatever,
yeah,
are also like CPUSAs, like,
which is a honeypot.
It's like, it's a honeypot for feds. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, next line will be typical neo-colonialist rad lib does X. Yeah. Shit lib, rad lib, anarchitty. Have you seen OK Buddy Tanky?
Oh no.
Oh yeah, it's a subreddit, OK Buddy Tanky. And so yeah, it's following in the vein of a subreddit whose name I'm not allowed to say anymore because it's ableist. But if you know the OK Buddy thing, then you may know the next word. But it's a spin-off of that into OK Buddy Tanky, and it's just a bunch of people memeing the shit out of tankies.
Oh my God. I'm gonna go check that out.
Yeah, there's
just so I'm gonna spam it the next time you know who starts getting up in my shit.
There's also OK Buddy Dengist, I believe. Or it's is it Dengist or hang on, let me try and find it. / there we go. Yeah, it's Dengist. So there's OK Buddy Tanky and OK Buddy Dengist.
These sound like fun. Not even gonna lie.
Yeah, they're just memeing the shit out of tankies. It's really fun, actually. More like Anarchism, I know, right? I don't know, CIA or FBI. FBI seems to be the most fun for spying if you go by the internet memes. I still prefer Russian cyber prodigy planted in the States just before the collapse of the USSR. Doesn't work with the CIA. Me, on the other hand. Yeah, exactly. I'm just not a principled leftist. Yes, the synthetic left. Yeah, it's a lot of that shit. My flatmate is a tanky and told me once the Uyghurs are going into learn camps, not working camps.
Oh God, it gets even worse when people want to bring up half-truths about the Uyghurs. So like, yes, the United Nations and the United States declared certain separate, like Uyghur separatist groups, specifically Uyghur separatist groups, not Uyghurs, as a terrorist organization because yes, they were trained by Al-Qaeda. However, that is not all Uyghurs. That is a very few tiny, like maybe 6 people left. Who the fuck knows? But yeah, no, that defense is getting stupid too.
And was it Fertus? I think it was Fertus that wrote our Uyghur prompt. It's not happening. It's imperialist propaganda. And if it is happening, it's not that bad. And if it's that bad, it's for their own good. And if it isn't for their own good, they had it coming. And if they didn't have it coming, you've done worse.
Yeah, how can we speak out about the Uyghur camps when we have children being locked up at the borders, right?
This is the benefit of being an anarchist.
I can just yell at both of them.
Yeah. That's I'm like, I don't believe in hey, there's the tanky command. Oh. So yeah, I don't believe in the nation state. Right? Like, that's not a thing for me. It's like, how is an American going to criticize China? Well, I don't believe in America or China. Like, I don't think nation states should be a thing. I don't believe in artificial geographical borders.
I do, but that's my native bitch coming out.
So, I'm going to criticize equally. Like, America's fucking shithole. We've got concentration camps on the borders. We've got slavery in the form of modern prisons. We've got, indigenous communities we massacred. We've got all of these problems. But so does China. So does the Soviet Russia. So does modern day Russia. And to be like, well, they, I just don't get it. It's like, you can criticize both, right? I just,
I don't get how people don't understand they can criticize more than one thing at the same time. A lot of leftists do it all the time.
Yeah. And I mean, this is how I ended up in post-leftism, which, by the way, isn't removed from leftism. It's just literally a way of talking about how it's a rubric by which you can sort of measure and analyze leftist ideologies as an anarchist. Because post-leftism is decidedly, hey, and there's Cappy. Hey, Karina. Post-leftism is decidedly born of the anarchist community. And so, it is just a method. It's another lens of analysis that anarchists use to be like, okay, look, we're adults. There's nuance to the conversation. And the left isn't all fucking sunshine, roses, unicorns, and rainbows. They've got problems too. And so let's talk about them. Let's see. I'm a post-Malonist. Let's see, concentration camps? Oof, I mean, the camps on the border are stupid, but they're not concentration camps. Yeah, no, they are. They meet the legal definition. They really are. I mean, that's the problem. In fact, there is a Jewish activist league that protests them on that very grounds. I forget what their actual title is, what the working group name is. But yeah, no, one of the first protest groups to show up in Texas at an ICE facility when they started separating kids was one of the Jewish Defense League sort of territory. Like, they were right there, front and center, and be like, no, this shit is too specific to our history. Like, not again, never again, kicked off really quickly. And so, yeah, I've had mad respect for, the Jewish diaspora for protesting the shit out of those camps.
Did you see what some people out here in the Bay Area did to the ICE building?
No.
It got redecorated inside and out.
That's a shame.
No, it looked lovely.
So, you hate to see it you hate to see it happen to such great people.
Oh, fucking wonderful people.
Just some of the best examples humanity has to provide.
But anyway, I'm going to have to go. It's time to tuck my son in, which is more important than any conversation we could ever have. But no, it sounds great. I don't have any problem with what you said, and I'm glad you took the time to talk to me and understand where I'm coming from.
Yep.
So, I mean, you can fight for society, and I'll keep fighting for the workers for the time being, because we do live in a society. And if we have multiple changes trying to happen from different, areas, maybe we can affect change quicker. So I hope, for our sake, the people in the communist side and the people on the anarchist side can realize that we probably have these same end goals in mind when it comes to just being able to live without as much harm being done as possible. If we could just come to like a position where we can work together rather than try to kill each other, that would be great. And fuck tankies, by the way. Fuck tankies. Just want to put that out there. But yeah, I'm not a threat. I'm not an enemy. I'm a friend, and a friend that you have changed the mind of on quite a few things tonight.
Okay.
And I could not be more grateful.
Well, thank you for the compliments. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for stopping by with an open mind.
Always, that's what you have to have.
Yep.
Have a
Catch
great
you later.
evening.
Praxis. For those of you that want to know what praxis looks like outside of a setting of building a house or feeding a community, that's what it looks like, folks. That's praxis. That's what academic praxis looks like. I'm just gonna take a moment, pat myself on the back. Oh. More open-minded than Marx himself. That is true, though. I mean, that actually is true. Yep. Oh. Oh. All right. Wither dancing. Oh. Oy vey. Dance party with Wither. Let me anyway, get you some more music, Wither. Oh, dance frog. All right. Well, that was fun. That was fun. It was productive. Drugs. Cat, just drugs. That was productive. It was fun. I'm glad we did it. See? We can reach some working fashion with some of the MLs. Not all of them, but some. But again, as I always tell my anarchists, my fellow anarchists, don't turn your back on them. Don't turn your back on them. Just keep them in your line of vision. That's all I'm saying. Hey! Thank you, Estrella, and congratulations, Wither. Estrella just gifted you a sub. Yeah, rehabilitation requires rehabilitators. After all, you know what a concept. All right, who wants to come on and have a further discussion or conversation? We'll open it up to more than just one person. Hey, Vor2069, thank you, Adia. Emote spam. Oh, nice. It's crown. Oh, I'm happy with what I accomplished there. Oh, why am I getting a notification over here? Hide it. There we go. And open that. Cool. Oh. Yeah, hang on. Give me one sec. I'll get you an invite. Yeah, because we don't do open invites because the fact of the matter is chuds operate in fucking terrible, like, faith, let alone bad faith. Like, they have no faith. Check your whisper. Say hello. Sent. Punchy sport thing tomorrow. Oh, interesting. You got a punchy sport thing? Time to talk about Posadism. Fuck Posadism. There we go. Blink the contact. Why do tankies always send me an ice pick? I'm shaking my head. Yeah. Withered acting as the welcoming committee. All right. Screw serious stuff. Any cute trots in chat? Must be fun. Well, what we got? Fucking Trotskyists. Should debate meme lord. Oh, geez, who put this up? Have a pointless debate with Kai. Oh, fucking, that's the thing. Kat and I have to, like, enter minutia for us to actually debate because we agree on most stuff. Cringe is already winning. That's hilarious. Oh, it's tied up. Hamburgers or hot dogs? For me, hot dogs. Honestly, I know hamburgers, you have more variety. You can do a lot of different stuff with them, but I mean, there's something about the hot dog that just works. I'm hot dog. Yeah. Kai, wonder why, babe. Yeah, no, it's you know, it's the snap of the sausage, and the real question is hamburger, hot dog, or sausage, because quite frankly, the superior hot dog isn't a hot dog. The superior hot dog is a sausage, right? Like it's some higher form, than just, you know, that grilled fish. Boo. Yeah, like a kielbasa. Yeah. White meat, yeah. Oh yeah, that's what Alo, that's what Wither was telling you, is if you wanted to get on air, you just go to voice chat and then I'll move you to on air. So I didn't, I watched it. Why am I fucking in that? Jesus Christ. Come on. Stop that. I watched that, I actually went back and watched that documentary on fake martial arts.
Which one?
I forget who did it. Hang on.
There's a bunch of those, actually, now that I think about it.
I think it was OKI that may have done it.
Okay, let me see.
Hang on, I can. Oh, no, it's Super Eye Patch Wolf.
Super Eye Patch Wolf made one?
Yes, it's called The Bizarre World of Fake Martial Arts. And it ends up talking about the MMA dude from China.
Oh, Xu Xiaodong. Yeah, that dude got fucked.
That guy. And, oh, yeah, like, I mean, because it's just, yeah, they went into it, like, he went into that in the end. But, yeah, he does, like, a bunch of them, like, oh, fuck, I forget the guy's name. Count something or other. He was the guy who back in the early days of comics would put in the back that, you know, he had the 7 death touch technique and shit like that. And yeah, he ended up like dying in a fight between, like a shootout and fight between karate clubs in Chicago or some shit. And oh yeah, and he goes to like the no touch, like, you know, masters and shit like that.
George Dillman and shit.
Yes. Okay, talks about them as well. Yeah, it's really interesting and fun, actually.
Yeah, dude, that whole thing, it's literally just narcissism. Like you can just watch pure unfiltered narcissism through all those people. It's crazy.
Count Dankula. Yeah.
Good God.
It is Count something though. But yeah, it was an interesting watch. Because yeah, I mean the guy, she or whatever his name is, he's past his prime, middle-aged, overweight, mid-tier MMA fighter by his own admission, and he just devastates these fuckers.
Yeah, like one-punch knockouts and everything. Just goes up, boom, it's over.
Yeah, the last one where they declared the dude the victor. It was put on like state TV and shit like that, and he was some Tai Chi fucking master, not the old dude, but the younger one.
Yep, I remember that one.
And he just rocked that dude, and they declared the dude the victor anyway. The guy went on social media and said the reason that he was able to defeat him, the reason he put him on the ground so easily is because the television network didn't provide him with enough rice to eat before the match.
I saw there was another one where like he claimed that he lost because his shoes were too slippery for the ring. And he, that led to him being knocked out. Apparently,
yeah.
These people are crazy.
And I mean, this is the thing. It's like it's one thing. Like we have a few of our crazies over here, like fake martial arts and stuff. But literally, it's a point of pride for a nation state in the instance of China. And so they literally are encouraging and actively promoting fake martial arts.
Oh, it's hilarious.
It's literally a state level, like, we believe in magic bullshit martial arts program.
Yeah, the CCP is actually like really heavily involved with like the Shaolin Temple and shit, and like they've taken like a lot of steps to like make sure that people like Western martial artists don't train in the Shaolin Temple or like try to alter their curriculum in any capacity. That's why people like there was this one.
Rosa. Michael the Count Bisping. Thank you, Rosa.
Oh, do you not know who that is? Oh, that's funny.
Fucking A.
Bisping's a motherfucker.
Yeah, he's the MMA guy. No, it's God.
Shushadong. I can spell it in chat here.
Hold on. Let me get Let me get
Shushadong. You can there it is in chat for people curious as to who the fuck we're talking about.
Okay, so it was Dim Mak is the death touch, and it's Count Dante.
Count Dante. Gotcha.
Yes, is this generally referred to as an American eccentric. Count Juan Raphael Dante, born John Timothy Kean. Yeah, he like his story is crazy. Like it's absolutely wacky. There's, I mean, making claims. Yes, this is the deadliest and most terrifying fighting art known to man, and without equal. Its maiming, mutilating, disfiguring, paralyzing, and crippling techniques are known by only a few people in the world. And an expert at Dim Mak could easily kill many judo, karate, kung fu, and aikido and gung fu experts at one time with only fingertip pressure, using this murderous poison hand weapons. Instructing you step by step through each move in this manual is none other than Count Dante, the deadliest man who ever lived.
That's fucking hilarious, dude. Because two of those were the same option. Kung Fu and Kung Fu are the same thing. It's just, Kung Fu is just like transliterated for Americans.
And if you really want an interesting read, look up this dude's Wikipedia page, and then there's a section called the Dojo Wars. Oh yes, various enmities cultivated in the Dojo War incident of April 24th, 1970, where Dante and some of his students performed a dojo storm on Green Dragon Society's Black Cobra Hall. Keep in mind, this is fucking Chicago in the 70s. Yep. According to press coverage, upon entering the school, they claimed to be police officers and attacked the rival dojo's students. The brief battle resulted in the death of one of Dante's friends and fellow sensei, Jim Con something or other. It looks Slavic. Former mob lawyer Rob Cooley states in his autobiography that he represented Count Dante during the trial following the 1970 Dojo War incident. Cooley recalls that Dante was ultimately acquitted, but not before both sides were given a stern lecture by the judge, citing everyone at fault. He also suggests that he was the mastermind in the notorious 74 Chicago Pearl vault robbery, in which $4.3 million was stolen.
That's funny.
Oh God! It's honestly, yeah. Just when the dude started talking about it, it was like, this is crazy. Like, this is just one of those stories that you're like, yeah, people should hear this.
See, and you wanna know the funnier thing is that there are people that have done this, but better, with an actual martial art that is actually about as deadly as they claim it to be. If you want to look into some of the craziest motherfuckers in like all of like martial arts history, you have to go to the Gracies. The Gracies were the real fucking deal. They found a martial art that can work for anybody of any size. It could snap limbs, it could choke people unconscious, it would work against the best boxers, judo, like, you know, not at the same time, but, you know, it actually did work. And the Gracies were famous for, like, actually doing dojo storms. They would fucking just walk into random gyms and just beat the fuck out of people.
And they're the unabashed fascists, right? Like, they're literally fascists.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. They're a family of like ultra fascists.
Yeah.
You know, like to this day, they'll like you'll find tweets of them like quoting like Heinrich Himmler and shit. Like they're the real fucking deal.
Maniac. No, that is Frank Dukes.
Frank Dukes. That's what I was
that's who the Jean-Claude Van Damme fucking Bloodsport movie was based off of. Who, by the way, fabricated his entire life story as well.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dead ass or which one, Mr. Sir? The Gracies or like all the other shit?
Oh, I love that. 219. I might be out of sorts, but did Count Chocula rob banks with Kung Fu?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what we're gonna put out there. Make it part of the Count Dankula mythos. Fuck that guy, but you know, hey, he can have it. It's a good meme.
Yeah, it was really interesting when they got into the shoe whatever.
Shu Xiaodong.
Shu Xiaodong.
Yeah, that's the jiu-jitsu guys. Kaiser.
That, I mean, literally it has the full weight and support and backing of the Chinese government.
Oh yeah.
That, I mean, it's
not the Shu Xiaodong guy.
No. I mean, but you know, that's how you end up in that revelation that the Chinese government is actually promoting fake martial arts.
It's hilarious.
I you know, Gracie. Yeah. Even I'm aware that the Gracies are fascists.
Well, to be fair, I brought it to your attention directly because it's just funny.
Like this. Apparently, it's very well known, actually.
Oh yeah, dude. They supported Bolsonaro. They fucking, you know, they trained like the fascist military back in like the 30s and shit. Like they're all in. They're they're like even like to this day, a couple of like the members were like quoted like were found quoting like former Nazi officials. One dude in particular saying that like France is, you know, there was like a French dude that fucking like let me get the tweet
you just search for Gracies and fascist, and the first thing that comes up is Helio Gracie linked to 1930s Brazilian fascism movement.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, yeah. I mean,
I'm trying to remember the tweet. Let me see. It'll probably come up if I search up Heinrich Himmler.
This family has been supporting fascism since like at least the 30s.
Oh yeah. Well, and a big reason as to why that is like forgot who was the guy that taught them like Japanese jiu-jitsu, which for context is basically the prequel to judo, or the art that becomes before judo. And like Japanese martial arts have like historically been like super fascistic. Jigoro Kano, like you know, the Japanese government used like karate as a means of like instilling nationalism among like its people after they stole it from the Okinawans. Jiu-jitsu has had like all sorts of fascist types throughout its history. Like so they just basically imported that to Brazil and they fucking ran with it. It's crazy.
Oh, this is great, Cave. The Mick
Mick
Dojo life.
Oh yeah, that's the other dude. Okay, so Henzo Gracie, who's for context, literally like one of the best jiu-jitsu like teachers to ever live. who's still alive, teaching to this day, teaching fighters that are fighting right now. He quoted Heinrich Himmler in one of his tweets saying, "My honor is my loyalty." And then a French person, basically stated, let me see if I can find it. A French person stated that, just Henzo Gracie doubling down on his love of quoting fucking Nazis. You'll have to pry Henzo's Nazi quotes from his cold dead hands. And Henzo Gracie replies, "It's not your fault that your grandparents let them march through your country without a fight. That's what produced your soft generation to vote in your president." And then he just repeats it in French. And then he says, "Now you pay." Here, I found a picture. I'll put it in shared content. Fucking, oh god damn it. Okay, I gotta download it for you motherfuckers. You better put this on stream, Kai, so you just, let them get the
No habla inglés.
full insanity. There you go. And bang, it's in there. That's a tweet thread. Crazy shit, dude. Oh, like Hendo is also hella right wing. That is true, Kaiser. Martial arts is a fucking crazy rabbit hole to get into. Hilarious as fuck.
Nice.
Yeah. Totally would have passed for Aryan. No doubt about it. Not, Henzo Gracie, that's totally very German sounding, I promise you. No cognitive dissonance whatsoever going on here.
I couldn't imagine, literally just fucking having as big a larger profile as that and just fucking dropping a Himmler quote. Just like, and here's a quote by Heinrich Himmler.
Just tweeted just I don't know where at 5 o'clock and halfway through December one day.
Yeah. Like he's just easy eating a meal. He's got like some chicken on his plate. He's like, "Oh, I'm getting my protein. Oh, you know what I should do? I should quote Himmler."
Yeah. They banned Trump, but not this guy.
I mean, it took a long time to ban fucking Trump. Let's just put it that way. And it was only after that motherfucker was known to have lost did they finally pull the plug on him.
Right.
So let's not give too much credit.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is that like martial arts are big, but they're not like that big, Himmler, Evolo, Savitri, Devi, and Blavatsky are the greatest philosophers of all time. Well said. Well, Trump brought into the traffic. Well, that's my point. I was waiting for like 2 minutes. First thing is, well, I should go and quote Heinrich Himmler. Oh, dude, it's funny.
Hey, we're just talking about mixed martial artists who are unabashed fascists. That's all.
Jiu-jitsu fighters that are unabashed the creators of jiu-jitsu, rather. Brazilian jiu-jitsu, to be specific. Not jiu-jitsu in total, but, Actually, no, I'll just say it. Yeah, jiu-jitsu as like a whole like martial arts strain. Yeah, pretty fascistic.
What is it about rolling around on the ground with other men that makes you into a fascist?
I think it's the geese.
It's the
I think it's like I think it's like the get up and like having to call each other like sensei and shit and like all that shit. Like
dojos have a pretty strict hierarchy, don't they?
Oh yeah. That's like I think that that's the thing is that like before the Okinawans got basically karate stolen from them, it was more like just like kind of a performance thing. Like you'd have people, they'd get on stage, they'd have a little ceremony, some fights would happen. When people would train it, they'd just be like super fucking yoked like meatheads, just like kind of doing their thing. But like the Japanese came in, codified a bunch of the rules, created the forums, created the gis, and then it just the hierarchy was introduced and then just went to shit from there. We need an anarcho dojo. Unironically, I think that is actually something that people should like promote. I mean, that's the thing is that like most like really good like sports gyms, like they'll have coaches and shit, but they don't have like try to guide people's lives and shit. They're just there to make sure you're good at what you're doing. But yeah.
Oh, let's see. President Trump, you're not allowed in the Wendy's.
Nice.
So were you around for the whole Samantha thing?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Yeah, it was cool. I don't know. I mean, it's just like I don't know. Maybe a little bit more theory, a little like I guess like for me, I guess I just would have asked like more questions as to how they arrived in that position to begin with.
Oh, well, I mean, Sam was pretty fucking clear on that. Angry,
Yeah.
angry indigenous person plus military.
Yeah, pretty much. No,
I
I
mean-
get that. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's like,
I mean, Sam still believes that, you know, in their heart of hearts, that what's necessary is, you know, for them at least, is somebody telling them what to do.
okay. I mean, I guess I just like appreciate the honesty. I guess I just wanted a little bit more, like what led them to that specifically, like what. And I guess like there's no singular answer, which is I guess like a flaw on my part. Like to expect that. Like was like I guess for me it's like, is there an event? Is there like a piece of rhetoric that resonated? But it's just like, yeah, no, it's probably just like confluence of like life experiences that leads to that shit.
Yeah, I mean, the way Samantha or Sammy, I forget which one I'm supposed to use, put it was, you know, autism plus angry native plus military regimentation
Right.
equaled that position, at least for her.
Oh shit! Right, we're supposed to have like a pointless debate.
We already are.
Are we?
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Uh,
See, we're already debating minutia, whether we are or aren't having a debate. See, this is about as best you're gonna get out of the two of us, folks.
Man, it'd be fucking hilarious if we did actually just decided to sit down and have a debate in front of everybody. Like, it would literally just be like, it would be like it would be like semantics and to the highest degree with like super minute like disagreements.
We'd end up with the piano map.
Pretty much.
Yeah, like we'd end up like that level of shit that we were like, okay, well, hang on, we're gonna have to create our own language first. Give us a year.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're gonna have to.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
Okay, so here's like my very, very specific definition of like anarcho-individualism and egoism and like why.
And then we're gonna have
like,
to
social
hammer out
contract-
every word in that fucking statement because
Right, and like here's where I differ from like bog standard social contract theory to like this to like it's a whole.
yeah, we're not the people you want to do that. Brown Eyed Girl, why are you rubbing your head, face, and eyes? Are you frustrated? No, that's not my frustrated. That's the fact that my body is on fire and or tingling and or, you know, fuck it. I have full body small fiber neuropathy.
Yeah.
So my legs are on fire right now. And that was me just trying to get the weird sensations to stop for a moment, both in my hands and my face and head.
Right.
So, yeah. My frustrated look is more along the lines of this. It's sort of like almost a cringe embarrassed, but it's like down here. That's usually my frustrated look. There's even an emote for it.
Yeah. It's funny. There it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
Hey, be over. I got your message. Sorry I didn't respond back. It was fairly early for me. B12 specifically methylcobalamin is one of the first things they test for when you're dealing with neuropathies. So thank you for the thought, for the care, for the concern, but no, that is literally one of the first things they test for.
Anarchists are the true sigmas.
Oh, jeez.
That's funny.
No worries, and thank you, Brownhead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking. But yeah, when I said that I like the only thing that I have to talk about was like the fucking punchy sport thing is because there's
Punchy
an event tomorrow.
Who's fighting?
Everyone, just like it's
Shit,
like
I
a
didn't get
super
my notice.
Yeah, basically 3 title fights back to back to back, including the greatest female fighter to ever live, Amanda Nunes. So you know,
It's
you guys
interesting that
should
it's an
probably-
Amanda. It's the best
Yeah.
female fighter I've known in my life. She was scrappy as shit. Was named Amanda too.
Well, to be fair, I'm probably saying it wrong because she is Brazilian, so I'm not sure if it's Amanda or Amanda. I don't fucking. Either way, she's fighting. You guys should tune in and watch her beat the fuck out of some like I think it's a chick from New Zealand, Megan Anderson. You know,
Uh.
you know, just pretend like it's someone fighting imperialism. You guys will, the lefties, you lefties will get your rocks after that, right? Am I out of touch with the lefties?
I don't know. Maybe. Just hearing a fucking popping, and I'm just hoping it's not on my side.
I can hear it too, so
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe it's something with a mic.
We'll see. I'm gonna cut the music.
Jack,
Withering.
can you guys hear the popping?
Withering had some insights. Oh, there it was again.
Yep, I heard that one. Anarchist and Sigma are both written the same way in my language. How is it written in your language? I'm curious now. Only fight I've ever watched is Khabib versus McGregor. I only like Khabib because he was hugging Conor to death. That's fair.
Not the mic, because I had the line in on the mic muted and it popped again.
Gotcha. So I don't know.
That's,
Also, Twitch did confirm that they heard a pop as well.
yeah, I saw that.
Yep.
Click sound. Yep. Oh, there it is again.
I don't know whether. I'm curious. Okay, at minimum, tell us what language family it is.
I know it is. I know what
is
it
it?
is. Yep. I'm guessing I just eliminated it. So
Okay,
we're
cool.
gonna go from there.
Well, here's hoping.
So anyway, Withering had some insights on your political ideas and appreciated it. Hope to get you on your next stream. Thank you, Kant. What was that, Wither? Where am I looking for that? Or something, or has whatever gone just over my head?
I do want to know. What's 12 months in Estonian? I know this one, Cave Dweller, you sneaky little... I like being an Eastern Europe simp. Oh shit, I can't say that on Twitch.
Oh wait, I've seen this video before.
Which one?
Because it's a couple of
Estonian language?
yeah. It's a dude in Estonia who walks up to a pair of women sitting on a doorstep and asks them how to say 12 months. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I've seen this before. Oh, I don't know. I've forgotten. Thank you, Wither.
Oh, that is unfortunate.
Estonian language? We're learning Estonian language. Can you help us?
Yeah.
How do you say 12 months in Estonian?
12 kuud.
Sorry?
12 kuud.
Ah, okay. That's good. One more time. Sorry, I'm a bit hard of hearing.
12.
12.
12 kuud.
Do they?
There you go, folks.
Yeah. Estonian is it's a motherfucker of a language. There's like fucking 15 different vowel cases in there. Let me see if I can find a chart like showing that, because like you literally have to learn how to say like the letter A in like 15 different ways. Estonian language, probably be on the Wikipedia page. The fuck is it?
C-SPAN 2 has votes for the 1.9 trillion package. We'll see if it passes. I mean, I'm not really gonna... Let me know when it fucking actually does a thing.
Wait, what's going on with C-SPAN?
C-SPAN 2 is having the votes for the 1.9 trillion, which that doesn't seem like... I mean, that would put that at 11 p.m. Are they still in session?
Let me do a Google. C-SPAN.
I mean, that's a pretty late vote for them.
Okay.
They're trimming it by 62 million. They reached a deal unemployment benefits at 300 instead of 400 because the 400 was so generous to start with. Does America have banned sites? No.
Are there not?
No. We will occasionally seize a site, If it's been engaged in illegal activities and the FBI gets involved, they will seize a site and they will put up a placard on the page itself saying that this website has been officially seized under the United States government, such and such regulation, that sort of thing. But yeah, there is no governmental blocking of websites in this country.
Gotcha. I could have sworn. Never mind. Fucking Mitch McConnell speaking now, teasing that it took 10 hours to cut a deal. Well, fuck. You own a house? Asks Australia.
Oh, well, it's reference to Red Baron, poorly spelled 1000, saying, believes in anarchy, owns a house.
Nice.
Not even for terrorist stuff? No, Icaros, we don't. There's terrorist activity all over Twitter. ISIS and ISIL have been known to recruit and publish on Twitter, and we don't block it. No, there's no.
That's why all the lefty shit's allowed online, boys.
Hey, Shala.
Pays taxes, claims he's an anarchist.
You're adorable, Red Baron. Bless your heart.
I mean, hey, ISIS likes Naruto. Do they really?
I wouldn't doubt that they have Naruto memes. I wouldn't doubt it.
I found videos of them like shooting body pillows and shit.
Scammer sites too allowed? Oh yeah, scammer sites are fucking plentiful.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
I mean, they're technically illegal, but we don't block them. We don't even seize them. We'll shut them down. The courts will occasionally order like a host to shut them down after they've been caught up in a court case. But no, there's no like governmental level filtering or national level filtering of these sorts of things.
The amount of spam emails I get, they're not banned. That is, that's fair.
Yeah.
You ever see a Monster House ask Red Baron?
No.
Wait, really?
No, yeah.
You've never done that?
Monster House is a movie, Cat.
Wait, I thought... Oh, I'm thinking about Haunted House.
I was like, if all the movies, of the few movies you've seen, you're telling me Monster House was one of them?
No.
Yeah, I'm like, Jesus. We need to get you that movie list.
Dude, I'm waiting on it. You've been teasing it for a while now.
Go watch Holy Mountain first, then get back to me.
Okay.
You need some surrealist films first.
I'm down with it. Monster House is why I'm an anarchist, says Red Baron.
Yeah.
I've
stopped paying attention to that. Okay, so they don't block sites, but they won't give you freedom of speech on the internet. Gimme. I mean, you've got freedom of speech. I mean, you do.
Yeah, the government isn't going to come arrest you for like saying some shit, assuming what you're saying or what you're doing.
I mean, there's some qualifiers to that, but way fewer than someplace like the UK or, God help you, China.
Right, like if I fucking say some shit online, like if I DM somebody something or I say some shit online, the chances of me getting arrested by the government for saying it
pretty low.
About slim to none.
Yeah, pretty low. I mean, people make death threats. People talk about inciting violence. People talk about and it's just no. It's not blocked. It's not banned. It's not going to get you immediately arrested. Now, if you go and fuck around and storm a Capitol building, then you better believe your internet history is going to be a part of that court case. But yeah, just the thing you say online, no, for the most part, no. Not at all.
I mean, Twitter blocking speech specifically. Well, I mean, the thing is, Twitter isn't the internet. It's a private entity.
Yeah, and there's no such thing as freedom of speech when it comes to private entities.
Yeah. Like a company like that's employing you or even just being on its premises can tell you to fuck off whenever it wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's see. Yeah. Alo. No, that's perfectly legal here.
Yeah. You can totally do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Twitter's freedom of speech. Twitter's a person too.
That is fucking true.
Legally speaking.
I was reading an article about the director of the movie The Platform, and I think you'd like them, Kai. They were talking about how their movie explains why you can't force ideals or things on people to make progress.
Oh, I've seen The Platform. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it as well. I don't know. I saw. I don't remember if it was an interview, but I do like remember like taking some time to hear what like the director has to say, and they kind of just said that like socialism isn't possible, but like from a socialist perspective, and it made me like real sad.
Wait, Twitter is legally a person? Twitter is a corporation, and there is legal corporate personhood.
Yeah.
And money is speech, and yeah. Welcome to America. People. Yeah, no, sourcing. I know. It's kind of ridiculous.
Thoughts on taxes, Kai?
In their current state, they're coercive, exploitative, and generally you have no choice but to pay them unless you want to run afoul of the IRS. And the only way that you want to get around your taxes, if you're not a multimillionaire, is leave the country, because poor people get audited. Poor people will have their shit taken. And I mean, this is a matter of policy for the IRS. So if you're wealthy and you avoid your taxes, then you're probably going to be fine. But if you're like working class person and you avoid paying those taxes, you're going to get your ass reamed by the federal government. So taxes are coercive, they're exploitative, and they are a form of violence inflicted upon you by the state. Can you avoid them? I mean, in the short term, yeah. In the long term, I wouldn't recommend it. It's not a good place to be. Talk to Wesley Snipes.
Why did we give a system rights to begin with? I don't know. I think you could give some salient arguments for it, just on the way that they're implemented currently.
I mean, if you guys want to know, there's a corporations command. If you want to know about the history of corporations in the U.S., Reclaim Democracy has a really good article on it, and how corporations weren't intended to be the way they are. Yeah, they were not supposed to exist in the form that they are. And we have Southern Pacific Railways to blame for most of those.
Wither wants to know if they can avoid taxes if they live in the forest.
Stay there. Don't interact with the system. Go off the grid fully. Yeah, you could pull it off.
Yeah, just like burn your social security card, basically. Like, just get rid of all documentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can probably pull it off.
Don't interact very much with society. The more you do that, the more the chances go up if you're getting fucked by it. So if you went like full prim and just went into like the backwoods of Maine or something like that, yeah, you could do it.
Okay, this got boring. Okay, fucking. Well, it's nice to have firefighters, cops, garbage men for those taxes, or should it all be free market?
No, we should socialize that experience. I mean, from an anarchist point of view, that would be a whole different ballgame, and we would still have them, and you would benefit from the social capital more than you would the actual capital of inhabiting those jobs. But no, in the current system, yeah, no, we most assuredly should have those, and no, the free market should not be fucking responsible for that, because then you'll end up with $3,000 bills for a fucking cop to do a drive-by on your house. Like, it's like, no, free market is terrible at that sort of stuff. One, because it's not free, and two, because it's terrible to start with. Shala, you saw a French documentary about Howard Zinn. What you guys think about the guy in his book? Howard Zinn he's had some problems with some of his historical accounts over the years. A few of them have been refuted successfully, but for the most part, his retelling of American history from a perspective that isn't completely just like Columbus discovered America and the Pilgrims were here to achieve religious freedom. Like, as long as you weren't buying the fucking con job, it's a really interesting retelling. Hey, thank you for the resub, Estrella. 3 months. Time goes against my anarchist beliefs. Soulism.
Yep.
The amount of work required to avoid taxes isn't worth it. Abolish energy markets. Yeah, mostly from the union's perspective. Markets, what was that? Markets based on a profit motive produce profit. Anything else is a byproduct.
Yep. Which is why market socialism is probably the best way we could just like keep capitalism around. Hey yo.
New version of Operation just has players use essential oils instead of performing a medical procedure. Thank you, Be Over. Yeah. No, there are most assuredly things that need to and should be socialized.
Yep.
Principality of Sealand 2.0. I saw Sealand and I immediately thought SeaWorld of Canada. Yeah. What was the orca's name? Tillamook?
I couldn't fucking tell you. But you don't understand. How can I be a hermit if I have to come to society to pay taxes?
Tilikum. There we
Oh,
go. No, that's SeaWorld. Sealand of
Yeah.
the Pacific was a Canadian place that had Tilikum first. Or second. I don't remember if they got him from SeaWorld and they had to return him. Either way. Tilikum came from Sealand after he killed somebody up there, and then he went to Orlando and killed a few more. I don't know the answer to that question off the top of my head, did I? Could be a hermit in space, no taxes in space, and I love Wilhelm. Yet.
Well, yeah, not yet. That is true that it's just not there yet.
Well, I mean, there's a number of reasons why orcas shouldn't be in captivity, Cassidy, but one of the many.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a video about a guy, I think it was one of the Living Alternatively videos. Let's see. 10 years.
That is a
Yeah.
topic we could do.
Self-sufficient. Yeah, it's exploring alternatives. Living on a self-sufficient sailboat for 10 years. Full tour. Link in chat if you want it.
Gotcha. Oh, there's a debate topic. We could fucking like have like some little bitch fit over like our differences in vegan ethics.
Sassy. Are you still here, Sassy? If not, if you are Sassy, speak up and I'll just speak you through chat. If not, I'll return your whisper. And I go find a greenhouse. Yeah, let's see. I don't know. Sassy just sent me a question and whispers, a while ago.
What they say?
They just, what kind of shirt do you want? Like, is one with your logo too corny? And yeah, I don't want my logo. Just something creative.
Gotcha. You're gonna also become a tanky and start believing that taxes are a CIA lie. Happiness forever.
There we go.
That's an option.
Fair enough, Cassidy. Then we don't get a cool story about a kind of orca jumps over for freedom, man. Right?
Be very cautious of LLC investment. It could be a Ponzi scheme. I've seen it happen. I mean, you got to do your due diligence with any investment.
Yeah, the overwhelming majority of LLCs aren't Ponzi schemes. But I mean, communists. There are no actual communists. Let's just do that right out of the gate.
Oh damn.
So I mean, where they exist in commune form. There is no large-scale society version of this. It just isn't a thing.
Shots fired.
So where they do exist, what it would be referred to as a CRP or a common resource pool. And so it's the concept of taxes sort of goes away in a communitarian or a communal format because everything is shared to begin with. And so there's not really, something to tax. And so, yeah, they're generally referred to as CRPs.
God, that is fucking cursed.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine living in that type of society. Fuck that. I'm good. I like having my own shit.
Yeah, it's a different thing. I mean, that's why the anarchists are like, there's personal property. Like, back the fuck off.
Until you meet the anarchists that don't believe that.
Which are weird. They're occasionally like those are the ones who took, like, I don't know, collectivism and mutualism and just kept running and like stopped looking. Like they just ran into a fucking wall. I
Right.
they're just like, wee smack. Like
Pretty much.
How do you misunderstand individual autonomy to the degree that you like surrender all of yourself to the group? How do you end up there?
It's unironic hive minds.
Yeah, I just,
Well, private property is kind of limited in a communist system, so taxation is kind of not possible. I'm pretty sure communists would just want to like abolish private property altogether.
Yeah, they wouldn't be for private property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taxes under a monetary system only exists as a means of control. The revenue is not needed or even directly utilized.
Fiat.
Okay, let's not be reductionist here.
I am the collective now, Wilhelm.
No, Wilhelm. We are the collective now. You are me and I am you.
Surrender, but don't give yourself away. Aye. Meet me by the beach and bring construction workers and waterproof solar panels.
Here's the thing is that like I want lefties need to start getting on like that whole like trade school shit. Like, it'd be nice to know that lefties are like all about like being like literally the people creating infrastructure.
That's a phenomenon that doesn't exist in America, but it exists elsewhere. Like, because often, trade unions are strong elsewhere. And so they get exposed to that sort of like syndicalist modality. And that's a uniquely international phenomenon. Or a uniquely American phenomenon where the tradespeople are strangely right wing.
Yeah, it's weird. But that's the thing too, is that's why I think like working class is probably a better like denominator most of the time, mainly just because like that could mean anything depending on your relation to the means production.
I mean, it's just the people at this point. There's so few.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's so few that are actually the ownership class. That,
or even the petty bourgeois, for that matter.
It's sort of hit this point where you're like, that wealth gap has widened to such an extent, and wages have been so stagnant for so long. But yeah, I could own capital one day. Exactly, Wilhelm.
One day.
Yes.
Maybe.
That is something that could definitely be worked on. Is if sort of leftists started running trade schools.
Well, not even just running trade schools. I mean, even just fucking attending them.
Well,
like here in the States, it seems like you either have like wage slaves or like people like just basically breaking their back in college, and there's like very little in between. And that in between is like pretty much owned by the right wing these days. You could own the capital. Shut the fuck up.
Bye, Maniac. Take care of yourself. Have a good weekend. I take weekends off.
That was a good one. How do you Shaloshka? I can't do it.
Oh, I always say Shala. It's Shalashashka.
Shalashashka. Okay, cool. Keep that in mind.
But yeah, I always just go with Shala. Let's see.
Ventura suggested bringing back the Uwulatine. That's cursed.
Oh yeah, Cassie's down on the Gulf. You could float your shit from the Gulf over towards the Caribbean area, like a little further east. And I would happily meet you guys out there. Fly down. I know my route. Like I know exactly where fucking you tell me, and I know what island hopping I have to do to get to you.
God damn it.
Yeah. Oh,
I learned a new term today, conspirituality.
oh god, that seems cursed.
I don't.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
find myself.
It's a term used to describe the merging conspiracy theories and spiritual beliefs.
I was in one of those Discord like that basically tried to blend those. It was weird as fuck.
Yeah. Like new age healing shit mixes up with like the QAnon COVID-19 conspiracy theories and that sort of thing. Conspirituality.
Have I refreshed my hot take counter?
Sure, go for it.
I think you know what, this is gonna be the uber hot take. I think it's gonna get an even. It's going trying to fucking. It's gonna rustle some jimmies, including yours, Kai. But I think that like spiritual beliefs rely on like a bunch of essentialist. They rely on a bunch of essentialist presuppositions that I believe are inherently right wing, and they can only devolve into hierarchical standards of measuring reality, because a lot of spiritual beliefs essentially rely on a person being able to sit there and say, yeah, this is just what it is, and that just authority boils over.
Lao Tzu would like a word.
I don't know who Lao Tzu is, so that's probably my issue.
Yeah, Lao Tzu would like a word. There's an entire contingent of quote unquote spiritualists that would be like, well, there's no way to actually know the nature of reality. And we accept that, and that's part of the practice. So,
Is that? But I mean, at that point, can agnosticism be spiritual then?
well,
I'm not sure it can.
that's Taoism. Yeah, Native Americans would probably disagree as well.
Okay. No, they're not ready. They're not. They can't.
But I mean, yeah, the Taoists are, very much anti hierarchy, anti monarchical systems, anti-authoritarian, and the Tao can never be truly known because the Tao is larger and greater than you. The thing that whatever we are encapsulated in is, a larger scale than you. So you just have to sort of find the flow and find the rhythm and do your best to go with it. Don't swim against the river is sort of the message of Taoism. And, the Tao, the way, the want, the warp, the weft. But yeah, the Lao Tzu is very much, no, you can't know it. And that's just the way it goes.
More into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, read the Tao Te Ching. Taoism reminds me of string theory. It dude, there's a lot of stuff that Taoism, you once you understand Taoism to a certain degree, you're like, this is weird. It's weird.
Kant wants you to send them some anarchist literature and DMs.
Pay tribute to sleep.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, do you just want? I guess you're asking for titles, Kant?
Yeah, that'd be my guess. But what do you do with it? Ultimate freedom is ultimate power, but what do you do with it after? I guess that it would be like questions that I would like relate to Taoists, because I feel like at that point, like with that like loose of a moral framework,
It's not.
Or rather,
It's not even a moral framework.
yeah, I mean at that point, like I guess anything is permissible, but I mean it's like it's like at that point it's just like I guess it's not hierarchical in the traditional sense. It just has potential for that.
Hey, Shala, thank you for the Prime sub, 2 months. Rock on, thank you.
Taoism was insanely ahead of its time. Taoist philosophy of language is so far ahead of the Western philosophy, it's crazy.
it really is worth looking into and studying, because a lot of those sort of presuppositions that you're making about spirituality don't include some really interesting ones. And yeah, the Tao Te Ching is as written by probably an apocryphal figure, Lao Tzu, is, you know, both a spiritual text, both a guide for health, as well as a political treatise.
Gotcha.
And it, you know, speaks to things like the, you know, in a community, the best leader of a community is one who is not known and leads from the back.
Gotcha.
Like, it's stuff like that. Like, you should not be the focus of attention if you're going to be in, you know, some sort of functionary within your society, because that's just narcissistic. Like, that's not a functional member of the society. And so, right. There's all sorts of stuff in there.
I'll have to check. Like I said, I have to read more into it, but I feel like I could still defend this point even against Taoism. It's just, it would have to come from like an epistemic, like very like meta ethics, like kind of fucking thing.
Yeah, it's,
that would take time.
And it's very much, you know, anti-hierarchical.
Right.
It is, you know, you are of the Tao, you are encompassed in the Tao, and there's no person or people that can separate you from the Tao. There's nothing that can be done. It's just, it is this sort of all-encompassing sort of way, and you can struggle against it if you want.
Gotcha.
And you're free to, but I mean, time will take its toll. The seasons will change. The earth will rotate.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. Fucking look into it. Also required reading for me, as it should be anyone else in school. Taoism reminds. Oh yeah. Okay. Hey, Seller. There's some pretty wild math and some arrangements of the I Ching. Yes, the I Ching, mapped on spherical arrangements. It's way over my head. The I Ching is sort of this crazy time mapping system, born of Taoists. Let's see. And Crimson Jet? Oh, God, I hope not. Pretty similar to Bakunin's view about vanguards and social movements. No Earth rotation without my consent. I know, right? So, yeah. It's just because you come from a Western background.
Damn. I did a cultural imperialism.
Yep, you did a cultural imperialism.
Fuck.
Womp womp. Cat did a cultural imperialism.
Wither asks, when are we getting a Farmer Kai stream? Or a Taoist streamer Kai?
Farmer Kai doesn't really exist anymore. I know you want to see, like, I tore down, like I told, I've talked about this on stream, like I tore down the aquaponic system a couple of years ago when maintaining it became a little much. That's just, it was a thing. Let's just put it that way, it's a thing. It took up the majority of my backyard, and I mean, one day Kat will see this backyard and be able to tell you, like, that's, you know, it's not huge, but it's not a small space either. Right. Yeah, it was a lot of fucking work, actually. But philosophy is just white guys jerking off. Philosophy is for nerds.
Wait, what?
I don't know. Fuckity fuck. I don't know if that's the F word. Farming is a lot of work. It is. It is, especially when you have like a system that requires a certain, you know, to be homeostatic. When, you know, I mean, because bacterial level, nitrogen levels, ammonia levels, all of these sorts of things, farming. Okay. All of these sorts of things have to be in a very small margin. There's a very small window that you have to maintain those levels within the aquaponic system. And any deviation could actually, like, snowball, and you can lose all of the fish fairly quickly. And so you have to have a number of things on hand to counteract any changes. You have to be testing all of the time. Once you achieve Kai familiar, I keep saltwater aquariums too. Yeah, exactly, Cassie. Like, I mean, once you achieve a homeostatic system, it tends to be somewhat stable, but changes in the seasons, in the temperatures, all these sorts of things. Plus, I mean, there's all the planting and the harvesting and that sort of stuff. So yeah, that system doesn't actually exist anymore. I broke it down a couple of years ago, 2 years ago now, I think. When are we? Yeah, about a year, 8 months, I think, something like that. Hey, Swamp Fox. Oh God, yeah. Just as a side, Ampribs are super cringe and genocidal maniacs. Look, we can't return to monkey people. We can't return to monkey. People need insulin, so they can go fuck themselves. Let's see, doing my rounds before bed. Ah, that's an early bedtime. Yeah, I guess.
Whatever works, you know.
Threw up a rerun of some British dude reading that socialist book, 1984. Oh.
That book's a fucking wild read.
Oh, Estrella's going to bed? Good night, Estrella. Wait. Where am I seeing this?
What are you talking about? Seeing what?
I don't know. Somebody said good night to Estrella, but I didn't see Estrella say good night.
No, good. I'm seeing Estrella say good night to Swamp Fox.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I was like. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? Oh, okay, and it's Swamp Fox saying goodnight back. That's why I just didn't read the names.
Gotcha.
No, Estrella's in like 10 chats. Yes, Estrella fucking multi-chats.
And prims are basically like these people that want to return to like a agriculture society.
Yeah, pre-civilization.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're anti-civ.
Yeah.
Which is another term. Like, apparently primitivists has become sort of like also touchy in some circles.
Here. I'll just think a song that they can listen to that like literally just describes their positions perfectly.
Good night, Swamp Fox.
They are anti-capitalists. They are fucking, you know.
They're anti-everything.
Yeah.
They
do spin it in a somewhat anti-hierarchical like bent, but you know.
Yeah, I mean they literally want to undo agriculture.
Yeah.
It's not just pre-industrial revolution. It is pre-agricultural revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly, Sean.
Basically, like, literally just go back to fucking, just, you know, just, like, hunting and shit. Just all day.
Yeah, there's a few actual prims.
Oh, Estrella, they're one of the few people that you actually have to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
They've done some shit. Ted Kaczynski is, like, a good example of them, like, actually doing shit.
To Ted's credit, he was the victim of a governmental like an actual fuck with your mind governmental program.
Yes,
that's a very real thing. They fucked him entirely. And the story. Oh yeah, in the end he was. He didn't start that way, but by the time the U.S. government got done with him, he was very much like, you know what, done with it all. Yeah, they fucked that dude over hardcore.
Yeah. Back to hunter gatherers, yes, Deadeye.
Yeah, it's literally the man walking back evolution. Do you know of a Republican by the name of Eisenhower? Was he useful? Wither, you mean President General Eisenhower? Yes, I've heard of him once or twice. He was the one who delivered the infamous warning about the military-industrial complex on his exit speech from the White House.
He didn't help make it, though, so fuck him.
Well, I mean, that was the thing. Like, he was like, dude, if you don't keep an eye on this thing, it's going to just consume your society.
Right.
And, you know, yeah, it was as in through his eyes a necessary evil of the moment. But he definitely thought that there should be checks and balances and limitations and maybe just dissolved entirely. But yes, that would be. Yep, good old Ike. Yep, he knew what was coming. Monkey isn't far enough back. Back to primordial soup.
That's funny.
And Prims be like, Chowder, we killed off the fucking megafauna.
That meme is a good meme.
Nice. Nice, Alo.
Here, I'll send you my favorite iteration of that chapter meme. Do not play it on stream.
Going
your
backward in
own
evolution does life no good. We're the only life forms we know of, and well, we're not the only life forms we know of. Either way. What about Vuvuzuela? In a few 100 million years, the sun's going to kill life on this planet. We can afford to go backwards if we care about life. Fair enough. What if they go prim and they just reproduce capitalism again eventually? Return to stonk. Yeah, I think I may actually, I may pull an... oh, there's Sassy. Oh, no, that was Kant. Never mind. That was Sassy replying back.
Okay.
Unless
y'all chose this, fuck you then. Wait, what? We must return to capitalism. I mean, if hypothetically, Anprims did do their thing, you could argue that the most moral thing you could do is create capitalism again. That's it, I would say that. Real capitalism has never been tried. Sometimes I think I should be human slush and seep into the cracks in the floor to someday rise again and become an omniscient hearth god.
We've had black markets and piracy and that sort of thing. We got pretty close.
Know what you mean?
True capitalism.
That's fair. Agorism, baby.
What's John doing? Let's see. Oh, he's okay. I'm thinking.
What's going on?
Well, I'm thinking I'm gonna take an early knee.
Oh, I feel that.
Cause it's Friday and I did good praxis tonight. Fucking, that's one less ML that'll try and stab us in the kidneys.
Right. Well, here's hoping at least.
Yeah, here's hoping. Yeah, right. I'm just trying to figure out who to.
Know who to raid right now?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find somebody.
Roxio's up again, but it's at 5 hours.
Oh, I got somebody. He's like the one other anarchist VTuber in the game.
All right.
Here, I'll put his name in chat.
Maybe raid Shadow Legends.
Shut the fuck. Who wants to catch the temp ban? Who said that bullshit? Alright. Think I'm fucking playing?
Oh, love it. Actually, you banned him outright?
The temp ban, don't worry. Oh, fuck.
Oh, totally worth it. Oh, respect it.
Like I just, you can't do that to me.
All right. We're going to start this shit. Hashtag mods are corrupt. Hashtag free my homie. Let's just go say hi to whoever Wizard's bread book is. Yeah. Either way, hashtag rigged. I will catch you guys on Monday. You know the deal. 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Kat, thanks for stopping by. Samantha, thank for being here and doing that thing. And kaisings.com. Catch y'all later. Hope you're as well as you can be. All right.